Hello. All right. Are we ready for this space news? Are we ready for the space news? Are you ready? I'm ready. I got links. But if you want to link any more, just let me know. Hello, everybody. I'm EJ, host of the EJ's Space and Rocket Review. I'm trying to be a little bit more formal, like, not just like jump right in, say what this is. So if somebody clicks on like this YouTube video or YouTube VOD, they're like, what the heck is going on here? I'll admit, even if I do say that, they're still gonna be like, "What the heck is going on here? Where's the dislike button?" Boop, Phil, you got more links. All right, I can click on all of those. Good, sweet.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I don't, Creeper. I'm not interested in Northwood stuff. That's we don't need to share that. Not for any particular reason. It just didn't really inspire joy. Okay. So let me just finish transferring up the rest of the links that were linked up. Once again, this is a space and rocket review where we talk about what's going on in the space industry and space policy, and you can learn about space and maybe even eat some space too. It's possible if you're strong enough or brave enough. I don't know. Don't eat space. That's bad for you. What happened to all the gifts? Idiots putting in an agree to cookies notice over the embedded GIF is the problem with the GIFs here. See the little window? The window up there? Yeah, see how it has that stupid gray box right there? How about this? That one don't work no more. This one? Oh, that one still works. All right, we keep that one. Yeah, see how's that? Oh, it went away. It went away. All right, excellent. Bring it back. Bring it on back. That's DM2 right there. Yeah, see the stupid box? They're putting their agreed to cookies notice on an embedded GIF, which is the dumbest thing. I don't know. It's pretty stupid. The Gene Kranz one still works. What about the NASA logo? No, that one doesn't work. Oh, that one works. Nice. We'll keep that. That one doesn't work. Is it 8 maybe? Ah, see? Look at this. What are you doing? We're professional here, I swear. Remember how I just said that I want to be more, try to get it more professional? There we go. That's fine. I have IFT5 gifts. So we'll put them in there tomorrow. Anyway, okay. You love the RS-25 so much? Yep. See that Steve Altemus at Intuitive Machines is doing a YouTube series, Tim Kaine too. Oh, really? That's awesome. That's actually super cool. I like those two. Those two guys are cool, man. Hearing their press conferences about the IM-1 mission was actually pretty awesome. Let's just say they deserve to be called Steve Chadamus and Dr. Tim Chad. All right, because they're two space chads. Chad J. Sonic Boom. Okay. Or something. Anyway. What Vasia said. Yeah, not hosting them, having them local lags the screen. Anyway, so we'll start off with something that I didn't get to yesterday. It's this right here. Bechtel has a slide. They released a PowerPoint of them constructing Mobile Launcher 2. Now, I know that Mobile Launcher 2 is a big fustercluck, but also I wanted to see the thing getting put together because I think that's really neat. Yes. All right, let's see what we got. How much thrust does the RS-25 produce, and how does it compare to the Raptor? Ryzen, they actually both produce around the same amount. 2,400 kilonewtons of thrust. The thing is that the shuttle engine produces 2,400 kilonewtons of thrust at 450 seconds specific impulse. Raptor is 380. Yep. It will never be as efficient as a shuttle engine. Because methane is not as an efficient of a fuel as hydrogen is. Methane is almost as efficient. The RS-25 is also way heavier. Yeah, that's right. All right, so let's see. This is the Artemis campaign. This is what Bechtel says. Learning from Apollo, the Artemis generation will return to the moon and the further scientific discovery, economic benefits, and inspiration for a new generation of exploration. It's going to be PR puff. I'm just looking for pictures, to be honest with you. Imagine a Hydrolox Raptor. Yeah, nice. Yeah, ML2 is going to need to be a little bit taller. And a baller. It's no ordinary construction project. ML2 is the first project Bechtel is completing for NASA in more than 40 years. Initial award, July 2019. Contract completion, May of 2026. That's not what the contract said at all. That's not, you can use a browser source pointed to a local file system. I know there's other ways to solve it, guys. I had the screens off to avoid this conversation. Don't worry. We're replacing a lot of this with Starship catching anyway, so don't worry about that. We have the gifts. I just got to do it. I was busy trying to get YouTube monetization figured out this morning. Also, yeah, no, no. The contract's supposed to be completed a year ago. Total contract, $1 billion. Cost plus award fee, 365 employees, 450 plus at peak. 7 local unions. All right, there you go. Tower characteristics, 35 stories tall. Yeah. Will withstand 2200 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. Will interface with the VAV in 39A. Yep. And blast pressure 130 psi. Yep. Did you see this sad news? Man, what is this? Does this have to do with space? I didn't want to see that at all, John. Thank you for linking that and probably ruining the entire space news and probably the whole evening. Appreciate it. Special design considerations, staying under the weight limit. NASA has a strict weight limit for ML2 due to constraints on the crawler transporter. The crawler and its specialized crawlerway path used to transport the mobile launcher to the launch pad has weight restrictions. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a crawlerway that was designed to not move fueled vehicles and then make fueled vehicles and move them. Yeah, John, that sucks about the United States, dude. I don't know. Whatever. Weight of ML1 was 1 million pounds heavier than expected. You missed the mark pretty hard there, pal. Need to improve weight tracking system in design and construction. Bechtel's task. Keep ML2 under 12.8 million pounds, currently within a 2.83% margin. Yes, Vasi, it's weird. They're called hurricanes. Oh, God, what the hell's going on? Why? Wasn't the original contract way lower than $1 billion? It was a $383 million cost plus contract, Trey. Now, cost plus contract for a launcher for a vehicle that you haven't made before, that doesn't exist yet, I can understand that. If it was me, I probably would have finalized SLS Block 1B's design first before you went and built this thing and awarded its contract. But the CDR for the EUS did go through right about at the same time. Interestingly enough, but yeah. The weight of ML1 was 1 million pounds heavier than expected. Jeez. Geek, I don't know. I don't know how do you... That's a hell of an oversight, dude, don't you think? Who's managing this project? This sounds like something I would do in Kerbal. Oh, wow, it's a little heavier than expected, and whatever. Does that sound like NASA? Like, what the hell? Umbilicals are key connection points between the rocket and the tower.
Yep. Go at throttle up.
Why is it that people cannot get contracts that are confident? Yeah, Raven, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Money probably has a lot to do with it. Slide wire baskets.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So Spartan, 58-month resub. Yeah, we were only off by like 1 million pounds. Weight tracking system. That should be incorporated from the start. Once again, this kind of confirms inadvertently, even though it's Bechtel's own slides, it kind of confirms what the OIG said. The OIG said that Bechtel has no form of schedule tracking for completing milestones for this project. Part of milestone goals for a project like this is, I don't know, coming together every month or two and making sure that you have a good idea of how much the thing that you're making weighs. That's one of them. That's one of them. It's kind of important. Might be important. But who knows? We'll see. Umbilicals are key to vehicle damper, slide wire baskets, Bechtel and NASA integrated teams. You are fired. Oh, I'm sorry. Project management tips. Is there a period in between it? Could it mean that it was just 1 million pounds and that it was heavier than planned, not 1 million pounds overweight? No, I'm pretty sure it means overweight. Sounds like I might be qualified for a job at Bechtel. Yeah, dude, unbelievable. Like, how do you? It's not like your mobile launcher is expending fuel or something. Like, it's all static equipment. Like, how do you miss that? Also, I can't believe Bechtel doesn't use an EVMS to track that. In all my NASA solicitations, that is a requirement. I wonder if there are a reason for that. Rocket, like, I don't... It's ridiculous to me. Bechtel admitted it. They admitted in their own damn slides that... They said it was about ML1, but also at the same time, like... This very much sounds like they don't know what the final mass of this thing is going to be. EVMS is Earned Value Management System. It's a program management tool that tracks money out in milestones and integrated master schedules. Yeah. Those scheduling milestones, the thing that they're not using. Yeah, important. Integrated EPC. ML2 is the largest construction project in NASA's portfolio. How hard is it to build a tower? I don't know, man. If you don't track it, nobody can prove you're wrong. Yeah, 2.83% margin, especially, yeah. The other one. The OIG report said Bechtel required training to use an EVMS. Like, how does Bechtel, that massive company that is not certified to work with that tool? Dude, that's my question, man. Does anybody at that company know how project management works, or do they just kind of wing it? Okay. Yeah, EPC innovation. Robust information and tools at the workplace. Data vaults, multi-purpose data vaults the field team can access at the park site and mod yard to provide access to docking stations for laptops to... Does this imply that they don't have this already? Like, worked in construction. I've heard from others they lowball, then change the order afterwards when they can't go back. Yeah. 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 This is ridiculous, man. They're 5 years into this project and you don't have all this stuff figured out by now, or... They're 5 years into a 4-year project. Yeah, yeah. This slideshow, these slides suggest all the changes that they need to do. Yeah, Journey. I get this infrastructure contract is a challenge, but I can't see them missing this badly. Yeah. Yeah. Like, but what? To ensure that assembly is not weather delayed, the mod yard has been outfitted with a lightning protection system that can be moved over the modules, allowing safe work during a summer storm. There, this site that they're building is right here. See, there's ML2. There it is. There's this, it's interesting to me that they're talking about lightning protection, because there's like this big thing over here that's like 520 feet tall. That's like right next to them. That you, I mean, maybe that's a little far away, but honest question, with minimal fanboyism, you think NASA's success with SpaceX has made them over trusting of commercial partners? Yes. Yes. Not everybody is SpaceX. In fact, I would say that commercial partnerships without SpaceX would have failed miserably. Think about it. When you take SpaceX out of the game, what do you have for a commercial partner? Rocket Lab, maybe? That's great. How many scientific payloads would have never gotten actually off the ground if it wasn't for Falcon 9? I can think of a couple off the top of my head. Psyche, Europa Clipper. Those are two big ones. Antares was okay, but Antares is 80 million a pop. 80 million for a medium duty rocket. Yeah. Can you drop a link to the document? Yeah, DART. James Webb was not moved by commercial partners, Da Vinci. I'm all for the commercial space industry use, obviously, but personally, I think NASA's leaning too much on commercial. I agree. Yes, I'm very much with you on that one. Juice, Hera, yeah, guys, the list goes on and on. That's the point. Questions? Possibly you. Yeah, no, the reason why they're going to put a lightning protect, like, see, I don't understand. The mod yard has been outfitted with a lightning protection system. Yeah, I guess I suppose that makes sense, but you're going to have a gigantic freaking crane that's just a big lightning rod. You're not going to be working in a rainstorm anyway. Like, I don't understand. Whatever. It's fine. Rocket Guy, I'll be honest. In 2021, when the cost had tripled from the original estimate, I would have told them to piss off. I would have gone to Elon and say, build me a freaking mobile launcher. You're already building them for Starship. Build me one for SLS, please. I'm dead serious about that. Would have done it. SpaceX seems to be pretty good at building GSE. They seem to be pretty good at it. You know, considering they've built 3 of those towers in the time that it takes everybody else to build that. ML2 is taller than ML1 and it's designed for SLS Block 1B. It's designed to take how heavy the vehicle is, Pigzig. The Crawlerway was never really designed to move fueled vehicles. Think about that for a second. It was designed to move a mostly empty Saturn V, with the exception of the hypergolic propellants on the payloads, right, on the CSM and the LEM. And then we decided that we're going to fuel vehicles in the VAB with solid rocket propellants. And that's when, I mean, with the Space Shuttle, it's not that big of a deal because the Space Shuttle is a short compared to the Saturn V. But now that you have a Saturn V-sized launch vehicle with 5-segment solid rocket boosters, you're getting to the upper limits of what the terrain can handle in terms of weight, on top of moving the gigantic pad with it. That's why they're worried about that, because the crawler transporter with a shuttle-derived launch vehicle like that could sink into the ground. Yeah, not good. What's the advantage of a mobile pad? Clean pad design allows you to launch multiple different types of rockets off of the same pad very easily. You can also stack 3 or 4 missions and quickly swap the pad out. Swap out the mobile launcher. It allows for parallel stacking, Jack, so you can build 2 or 3 missions all at once. That's why the VAB has 4 high bays. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you could take 3 mobile launchers, send one with a completed Saturn V out to the pad, and then roll another one in and have 3 different vehicles that are at 3 different states of assembly, right? And then that one flies. You bring the empty one back, start stacking a new vehicle. Another one pops out. You put it. You put the ML in. You put the ML with the completed Saturn V out there. It launches it. It rolls it back, and by the time they're rolled back and ready to go, you have another Saturn V ready. That was the idea. Was the idea. Yeah. Yeah, that's why they originally built 3 mobile launchers all at once. Adjusted for inflation, I had a viewer do the math for me one time. Adjusted for inflation, the mobile launchers, building 3 of them, cost less than $1 billion adjusted for inflation. For the Saturn V. Yeah. They were $220 million a pop. That's adjusted for inflation, guys. Yeah.
The Eagle has landed.
Why are we trying to use a crawler designed for the Saturn V to carry something that was never designed for? They should have built a new crawler from
Holy
the ground
shnikes,
up.
that's a huge building. That's NASA's vehicle assembly building. It's where they build rockets that go to the moon. Or, well, they did that a lot in the past. They've only done it once since 1972. Lots of shuttles, though. That's good. Yeah, Zeb, it's a big one. It's a big building. Yeah. 525 feet tall.
Discovery,
It's
go at
52
throttle.
stories. You can, like, the door on the inside can open up and you can roll a vehicle with its launcher out of it. It's big, dude. Hey, Zeke. Welcome to Mission Control. You go with Throttle Up. Thank you for the Prime sub, dude. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, this is... EJ's ignoring notifications, or EJ has the headset turned off and couldn't hear it. RJ, you didn't think of that. You're just going to go right to I'm ignoring you. So guess what? Guess what? You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to ignore you. Anyway. Give me my money back then. No, it's mine. You can't have it. Yeah, see, there they are putting it together next to the VAB. All right, what did you say? You tipped $3. What's up? Why are we trying to use a crawler designed for the Saturn V to carry something that it was never designed for? They should have built a new crawler from the ground up. CT2 was refurbished as part of the Constellation program and was upgraded to be able to handle the increased weight. They basically frame off restoed that whole thing in the mid 20 teens. Yeah. Crawler Transporter 1 is sitting out there doing nothing. It can't move anything. All the vehicles and infrastructure that CT1 can move is too heavy. Or they scrapped all of it. It can't. CT1, Crawler Transporter 1 can't move that. Can't even move SLS Block 1. Can't do that. It's too heavy. It's 15 million pounds. Yep. What they were going to do... RJ, listen to this. What they were going to do as part of Constellation is refurbish CT2 and use Crawler Transporter 2 to move Ares 1 around. And while NASA was only launching Ares 1, they would have one crawler transporter that can move stuff back and forth, right? Well, CT2 became operational and started moving Ares 1 stacks to the pad and back, they would have refurbished CT1. And Crawler Transporter 1 and 2, by the time Ares 5 came around, which has the same weight problems that we're talking about, would have had it, they would have two crawler transporters, so one wouldn't have to be down for the count. But since, no Ares 1, we didn't do that. We refurbished one crawler transporter, and CT1 has done nothing since 2011. It's sat there doing nothing. It's sitting next to the VAB. Yeah. CT1 would have been able to carry Omega. Yeah, that's true, Deadbringer. Yep. We are wanting an additional 3. 3 what, goalie? Has another SLS been built yet? SLS Artemis 2. The Artemis 2 SLS is basically all at the Cape Jack, and they will start stacking it actually very soon, which is pretty cool. I still don't know why they went to Bechtel instead of Krupp, who had plenty of experience with harsh-heavy tracked vehicles, cough, bagger, cough. See, Tessa, here's my thing. Why did you go with Bechtel when Jacobs... EGS, the people that built the first mobile launcher, just finished building it? Why wouldn't you just give it to the people that built the first one? They might be able to carry on some of that experience. You're wanting an additional 3 million. Like, I would be very curious to see the procurement for that, because Bechtel has no experience building mobile launchers, 0. So we have the most complicated piece of infrastructure and the biggest infrastructure project for NASA at the Cape in pretty much a half century, and we gave it to a company who has no experience in doing any of that. Nothing with spaceships, nothing with heavy infrastructure, nothing with rockets. Yeah, lowest bidder. Yeah, well, they bid low on purpose and then jacked the thing on a cost plus contract because they're I'm not finishing that thought, but you can probably extrapolate it. You reckon someone is playing games? Absolutely. Absolutely, Pigsig. See, here's the thing. You know how I'm normally like, oh, it's, people that say SLS is too expensive. And I say, compared to what? Compared to what? Starship? No, it's not. Costs a lot of money to build a rocket to go to the moon. Elon will be the first one to tell you that. Now, if you like Starship because they plan to use it a lot more, then yeah, I don't blame you. But the same argument could be made with SLS. You could probably not launch SLS as much as Starship, but even if you launched SLS 4 to 5 times a year, cost would pretty much be in line. It'd pretty much be in line if you figured total cost involved for both vehicles. But people don't want to hear numbers. That gets them upset. They just want to hate SLS, which is fine. Now, with all that being said, you can compare the price of a mobile launcher to another one. NASA just finished building one for SLS Block 1 relatively recently. Compare the price of that. How much did it cost to make that thing? Now, adjusting for inflation, you could scale costs to the original 3 mobile launchers that were built during the Apollo program. Now, I know that even adjusting for inflation might not be an exact analog here for extrapolating price on these things, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that there is precedent there to know how much this thing is going to cost, and for someone at NASA to be able to understand if you're getting lowballed on a contract. Now, with all that being said, adjusted for inflation, a mobile launcher for the Saturn V cost $220 million in 1960s dollars, right? So if you give a contract for a mobile launcher, right, for $323 million, that's about right. That's about in line if you compare it to the past. So I don't blame them for picking them because that price is competitive, right? It is. It really is. $323 million should be about how much one of these costs, historically speaking. But you didn't take into account how, I don't know how much ML1 costs. I don't want to know. It's probably ridiculous. Now, once again, with all that being said, $323 million seems pretty damn competitive. That doesn't seem like a lowball bid for an ML, considering an ML is just I was about to say it's a static piece of equipment, but it's not. It moves. But it's just a tower, right? Well, you have to deal with the weight problems, which shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Any engineering firm could probably figure out how thick the steel needs to be, et cetera, right? But when that contractor comes back and says that no, it's going to cost, 2 years later after you award the contract, they say no, it's going to cost $600 million now. They said because of COVID, right? Okay, cool. And then in 2023, and 2 years later again, they come back and say no, it's going to be $900 million. Just kidding. It would be at that point where I'd be like, all right, you guys can pack your shit up and leave. I'll find somebody else. Thank you very much. It was supposed to be delivered in 2023. Now, not only am I not getting a mobile launcher in 2023, but my costs have tripled for this thing, and I still don't have anything. Circa 2023, there was nothing. There was an empty field where ML2. They hadn't even started construction on it. That's pathetic. Also, I got to time myself out because I swore, excuse me. Hey, I'm not above my own rules. Something is going on there. And that particular reason is why the Government Accountability Office investigated the ML project and came back with the findings that they came back. Because someone ain't stirring the Kool-Aid, man. Someone ain't stirring the Kool-Aid, Ace. That's sus. That's very sus. Dude, bro, I could build a mobile launcher for $900 million. Do I know anything about construction? No. But you know what I would do? I'd get people that do. I bet you I could oversee a project building a mobile launcher for less than that. I can say that with pretty high confidence. And I know dick about construction. But then again, it seems like they don't either. Just saying. Anyway. Yep. That is enough for me. ML1 cost $1 billion total. Okay, big red flag there, Trey. But yeah. Yep. They have a track record of not knowing what they're doing. Yeah, XO, I really want to know who was behind that decision, and yeah, I would want to see who their constituents are monetarily, because this is dude, something, come on. Something's wrong here. These mobile launchers should not be costing $1 billion. I'm sorry, they shouldn't. It's a freaking tower of steel with some pipes attached to it. Okay, just in case you were wondering here, check this out. You know, how do I know? Look, this isn't my analogy, but somebody did bring this to my attention a little while back. That mobile launcher, the mobile launcher that launches SLS, Block 1, is $1 billion, right? From what you guys just said. And that's right. I'm pretty sure that's correct. And Bechtel has said that the Block 1B mobile launcher will probably end up being about $1 billion as well. Do you see that thing? This thing, tallest building in the world. Anybody want it? Anybody want to know the price tag? The tallest building in the world cost $1.5 billion to make. And we're sitting here struggling making a 35-story tower. It doesn't have a sewage system, though. I mean, Leo, you're not wrong, or Laotian, you're not wrong, but also at the same time, neither does the mobile launcher. The mobile launcher don't have any toilets on it. Honestly, how does this happen? I do not understand. And it seems like the Government Accountability Office seems to be just screaming into the void here. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. That right there costs 2/3 of the price of the tallest building in the world. Not a chance. Not a chance. Someone's lying in their pockets. Not a freaking chance. And if someone wants to, if there's any information to the contrary here, I would love to hear it, because there's no way that thing costs $1 billion. But then again, it might in this day and age. You never know. Who knows? Who knows? I had previously said that, you know, it kind of in another thought, the context of this conversation was a little bit different, but I previously said if the first one cost that much to build it for SLS, the second one's probably going to be somewhere around there, and NASA lowballed the contract. You know, there's no way that the contract, you know, if Block 1 ML cost $1 billion, right? Block 2 is probably, the Block 1B ML is probably going to cost the same amount, right? Probably going to be similar, right? Because it's a similar launch vehicle. Kind of makes sense. And yet we have a $323 million contract being thrown around that has tripled in price now. So if an ML cost, but once again, I mean, going back to it, how the heck does this stuff cost $1 billion a pop? It's a steel tower. The tallest building in the world is $1.5 billion. You got to be kidding me. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way that costs that much. I mean, it might, but also no. The building doesn't have to move a few miles and survive a rocket launch next to it. Now, I'm not protecting them at all. I can't stand them, but also an ML is a lot harder. No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. Getting something that's 1,000 meters tall to stand up straight is more of a challenge than building a 150-meter tower that needs to handle 130 psi dynamic pressure next to it. Not a chance. No way. Goalie, like, look, I think, you know, Jacobs was $1 billion for a Block 1 ML. So, okay, all right, here, let me be real. First of all, if we just followed through with Constellation, we would have figured this out a long time ago. Not a lot of people know. Here. Not a lot of people know that SLS Block 1's mobile launcher was not built for that rocket. Please hold. The SLS mobile launcher was built for Ares 1 and was halfway completed when some bonehead decided to cancel the program. There it is with CT, I think CT1. I forget which one that is, but yeah, it was completed. And then they took the whole damn thing apart and put it back together for a vehicle that's like 6 times as heavy as an Ares 1, and it turns out it bends. That's why the cost ballooned on ML1, guys. Because they basically took a launch pad for a vehicle that weighs 1 million pounds and took it apart and tried to rework it for a vehicle that weighs 8 million pounds. Whoops. Remember how I said, yeah, exactly, Matt. Exactly, dude. You're on the ball. You're on the ball. Remember how I said yesterday that the repercussions from the Constellation program are going to affect the repercussions from canceling Constellation are going to we will feel the reverbs of that for decades to come. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So the tallest building in the world costs less than Orion, ... Yep, Trey. Yeah. Well, Orion is supposed to do a lot more. I can understand that for Orion, believe it or not. But also, in the same breath, they didn't even get the heat shield right. So, okay. If Bechtel aren't skimming off the top side, bottom, and middle, a bit more off the top and the foundations, I'll eat your hap dipped in motor oil. Tessa, something weird is going on here. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Building a tower to catch a 22-story building is a true challenge. Yeah, yet SpaceX is over here building something that's designed to catch a 300-ton booster. And did it. You know, like, I've been trying to be impartial basically since I started streaming, but it is coming increasingly difficult. Silly Viking, project manager here. Second one should be cheaper, assuming material cost is about the same. Not a lot less, but the same. Mainly in payroll. You need way less management and engineering review after you did it. The unknown unknowns are always come up the first time, but the second time is most of the stuff is hammered out already. Yeah, silly. You're right. I agree with you, and I know you're agreeing with me in that regard. But it's important to understand that ML2 is designed for a different rocket. A rocket that is substantially heavier than SLS Block 1 because it's got a way bigger upper stage. So they reintroduced unknown unknowns by frankly having a garbage spaceflight architecture. The more you know. Once again, it makes me want to, whoever is the person that sold the idea of an interim cryogenic propulsion stage for our lunar program, I really want, I have some choice words for that person. I would want to kick that person repeatedly in the crotch in Minecraft. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like that. You know? Yeah, welders bring a premium, Deadbringer, but yeah. Mm-hmm. But EJ, one of stopgap solutions caused trouble in the past, Kappa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard not to be biased because SpaceX is showing progress and aren't afraid to use fit. Yeah, no, Obsidian, that's the truth. Anyway. How did that go again? Oh. Oh, you think I'm making up noise? That's what it sounds like in Minecraft. I'm telling you. Yep. And this is where I will relentlessly tell you that Ares 1 should have flown and canceling Constellation was dumb, and we are dealing with the reverberations of that by basically having a space program that does nothing but line people's pockets instead of actually accomplishing something. At least, you know, and don't get me wrong here, fellas. I'll be the first one to tell you that Constellation would have done the exact same thing. Constellation would have lined people's pockets, just like the SLS program is doing. But at least we would have gotten something out of that. At least we would have gotten something out of it. Why are you booing me? I'm right. Anyway. But 100,000. Oh, that's for a welder, Deadbringer, not for. Wait, what? Hold on. Going through the subawards for funding. This better not be for a single welder. I thought you were talking about a salary position. They paid $109,000 for a Miller Maxstar. Are the SRBs be mounted vertically? They stack vertically, Snake. You have to stack the SRBs and then hang the core stage on them. These contractors that are bleeding NASA dry are screwed. That's what I mean, guys. You know, it's not just, you know, we talked yesterday about how it's not just the space program, right? It's not just how NASA has no goal. They need a goal and that'll galvanize the entire system. I still believe that's a thing. It absolutely would work. But the other thing is that NASA can't keep bending over backwards for these contractors. I keep seeing stuff like this where NASA's like, hey guys, we want to buy a new Jeep. Your website says that a Jeep for NASA, you know, a Jeep would cost me 20 grand. Okay, let's go to Jeep. Hi, Jeep. Hey, I'm here for the $20,000 Jeep. And Jeep goes, you're NASA, huh? Yep, that's me. Oh. Well, you know, I'm going to put a NASA sticker on this Jeep, but it's going to cost me a lot of time to do that. So the NASA Jeep for you costs 40 grand. Oh, really? Is it special for me? Yep. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. 40 grand? Oh, that's a great deal. Thank you. And that happens a lot, and it's very frustrating. Do you think it would be possible to Elon to do something about this if his Doge department is going to actually exist? Tucson, it may be. Maybe. Who knows? So you mean like the Call of Duty Jeeps they sold? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Glitches. Tier 1, 213 sub. Thank you. Sorry, my headset keeps going off. I can't hear the notifiers. But yeah. NASA sounds a lot like old Gil from The Simpsons. Dude, you have no idea how much this happens. Well, our market research shows that mobile launchers would cost about $320 million. Oh yeah, we'll do it for $320 million, but it needs to be a cost plus contract, NASA, right? Yeah, I know. You might end up spending a little too much. Oh, sorry about that. COVID and supply lines. Now it's $600 million. Oh, really? Okay.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Oh, sorry about that. We forgot. We forgot to make a schedule. Now it's gonna be 9 million. Well, isn't that your problem? No, you see, NASA, you didn't give us a schedule to deliver this. Oh, well, I did. It was supposed to be here in 2023. No, NASA, you don't understand. You don't understand. You didn't give us scheduled milestones. You just said deliver it in 2023. Without you giving us scheduled milestones, we don't know when it actually needs to be delivered. Oh, that's right. Okay, here's another $1 billion. Anyway, moving on. Well, a standard house is almost half a mil, so I can see how Bechtel spent so much. I think you have your decimal points moved. Not working so well for Boeing trying that. Actually, people, and this is something that people also really don't like hearing, but it's the truth. I think that funding Starliner development on a fixed price contract was the dumbest thing that you could do, and I think that's the reason why Starliner has so many problems. Yeah. Yeah, how the hell do you know how much it's going to cost? You haven't made it yet. How do you know? Boeing developed a Starliner on a fixed price. For development of vehicles, especially for something that you don't know how to do, like building a pod, which Boeing has never done before until Starliner. Weird, huh? Yeah, how do you know how much it's going to... You don't. So that's where a cost-plus contract would be good, with good structuring and schedule milestones. In this particular case of Commercial Crew, it would have been a good idea because those schedule milestones are, oh, I don't know, delivering people to the ISS before it ceases to exist. That's weird. The contracted 6 missions that Dragon has flown, and then some, and Starliner should be flying, should be on a fixed price from there. But fixed pricing your development is why Starliner has so many problems. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yep. Because fixed pricing development forces the contractor to basically not can't afford the best and brightest for the project because you only have so much money to spend on it. Think about it. It's true. People could say I'm a jerk for saying it. It's fine. But I think that's why Starliner has all the problems. I think that's why it has all the problems, because they fixed price the development, which is absolutely what you shouldn't be doing. Every spacecraft that has been engineered and developed pretty damn successfully was not done that way. Apollo, good example. Starship, another good example. Yeah. Fleet got another bone stock Marauder. All right. Anyway, speaking of SpaceX, Elon says, hopefully early next year we'll catch the Starship 2. Yep. Corners will be cut for sure. And you wonder why Starliner has so many weird problems, has so many teething problems, Lord Gugu. Because you don't develop spacecrafts on a fixed price. You give a fixed price for a service. Okay? Developing spacecraft on a fixed price is dumb. There, I said it. Yeah, not going to lie to you. That's pretty stupid. NASA should pay out by milestones for its project. Well, there's a certain type of cost-plus contracting structure that accounts for that, Death. It's called cost-plus incentive fee. Basically says you'll make a lot of money on this contract, but if you actually deliver it on time, you'll get the full payout of the contract. For some reason, the Bechtel Mobile Launcher contract is not that. It's just cost-plus additional. Cost-plus additional. There's no incentive there. Yeah. Was VentureStar cost plus? I wonder. I don't know, Aqualux. I'd have to go look. That line for the $106,000 welder doesn't specify how many. A lot of entities don't. Or a lot of other entries don't. Okay, G. Yeah, I got you. You're going to get to a point where you wish we could do this, but it's not in the budget. Yeah, that's stupid. Now, like, once again, the flip side of that is, you don't want to have a cost plus venture on a vehicle for that's something that you don't know how to design, right? You don't want that if there's no deadline for it. No deadline and no schedule milestone should have been a big red flag with the ML2 contract or anything, for instance. Look, Boeing said SLS would fly. All the commercial contractors for SLS said it would fly in 2017. It didn't fly until what, 2022? Missed it by that much. Yeah. NASA, okay, so what's the point? I'll kind of bring it all in. The whole point that I'm trying to say, guys, is that it's not just Congress screwing NASA. It's not the funding, blah, 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 blah. NASA needs someone that's going to fight for NASA and say, look, you're not delivering on this contract. I need to shop around. I got to shop around because you're not delivering. We asked you to do something. We paid you to do something. And not only are you not doing it, you say it's going to cost as double and even triple as much as what we originally thought. There is no way you screw up that bad. I'm sorry. There isn't. Anyway. Now on to some good news. Let's move that over there. We're going to go through some kind of quick space news links. I'm going to try to get the quick stuff. Here, lighten the mood a little bit. There we go. Bing, bong, boom. There's a picture of Yak and Hoppy. Yacky and Hoppy. Nice next to each other. Very nice. Like saying publicly you will fly Orion on Falcon Heavy. Yep. That's right, Phil. Why do you think I liked him so much? He has the stones, because Jim has the stones to say what needed to be said. There's a picture of Jack and Hoppy. This was shared yesterday. Oh, actually, speaking of that, this next article you might like. Boom! Check that out. This is coming from Space Policy Online. Jim Bridenstine to lead NASA Mars Sample Return Strategy Review. In a post on NASA's Science Mission Directorate website yesterday, NASA disclosed the establishment of a Mars Sample Return Strategy Review team to assess 11 studies of alternatives for returning samples of Mars to Earth. The independent team, led by former NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, will not recommend acquisition strategies or partners, but examine options. The agency also set up a NASA analysis team composed of mostly NASA employees to provide programmatic input. NASA is trying to find a way to return samples now being collected by the Mars Perseverance rover back to Earth less expensively and more quickly than what the agency has been planning. An independent review of the joint NASA-ESA program last year concluded that it would cost as much as $11 billion and had a near zero chance of meeting its schedule, prompting NASA to reach out for new ideas. Turns out when you underfund a program, here's another case of the exact thing that I'm talking about. Anybody that's going to sit here and tell me that a Mars sample return is not going to be a multi-billion-dollar mission is a moron. Turns out going to another planet is expensive. Turns out bringing something back from that planet is even more expensive. Weird, huh? That's strange. Oh, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. Yep. Okay. Okay. We keep kidding ourselves thinking we can do less. We can do more with less, which is not how spaceflight works in the least. You only get to the point of doing more with less when you foot the bill for a big development contract. A good example would be that stainless steel keg that launched into space the other day. You'd be dumb to think that that's not a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. I mean, SpaceX themselves have said that Starbase costs basically about $1.4 billion a year to run. That's the type of development you need to be sinking into a program to make a rocket fly for a good amount of time. But the payout is that you will eventually have a rocket that can fly 4 or 5 times a day that moves 150 tons to low Earth orbit. See what I'm talking about? Maybe eventually you'll be able to do more with it for less money, but only after you foot a gigantic development bill for building a more complicated vehicle that you could theoretically do more with down the road. This is the problem here. We think we can go do a Mars sample return mission, and, we think we could do it like this. We could think we could do it this fast. We could think we could do it for X amount. Well, not only do you not know how much it's going to cost, you don't know how long it's going to take, right? And you definitely can't fund that project correctly. It needs to be done on an on-need basis. Once again, cost plus again would be a good idea here. And unfortunately, a lot of NRE was already spent with JPL's original concept in-house. Yeah. You don't know how much it's going to cost until you go and do it. So you kind of have to go and do it and kind of say, like, oh, we're going to target this transfer window and bring it back then. But we clearly didn't do anything of that sort. We said we're going to do it for this amount of money, and we said we're going to do it at this time, and that, yep, nope. Turns out you set it up to fail completely, which is great. Good, great, grand, wonderful. Perseverance has 10 cigar-shaped sample tubes at a depot in the Three Forks region of the Yerzero crater on Mars for later retrieval. Yep, see, there they are. Additional tubes are stored inside Perseverance as it continues exploration of the Martian surface. Well, $1.4 billion a year to run, add material costs. Yeah, Scallywag. Yeah, exactly. You're proving my point. See what I'm saying? It takes a lot of money. You don't develop a rocket that goes to the freaking moon for less than $1 billion. I'm sorry, that's not happening. Not in this day and age. Hopefully I'll eat my words in the future, but that's just not how this works. We think just because we've sent something to Mars, it shouldn't be that hard to send something there and bring it back, right? Right? No. From this point out, once you get beyond low Earth orbit, the further you get out, unless you sink a lot of money in methodically and slowly, like doing an Apollo program, for instance, you not necessarily slowly, but you got to build off of it. You know what I mean? If you don't build off, it, this is going to be a big problem. Like, okay, let me give you an example. How much easier would this mission be if we had a Saturn V at our disposal to shoot something big enough at Mars to get back? It would probably be a lot easier, right? Saturn V could move 150 tons or 120 tons into low Earth orbit, 45 metric tons translunar injection, which means about 45 metric tons trans-Martian injection. That's enough to build a descent and ascent vehicle that could get back easily. Your payload margin is huge there. That's enough to send people to the freaking moon and back. We could go get a little tube that's about as big as this pen on Mars with that amount of payload margin. See what I'm talking about? You got to build to it. We're just they just said, oh, go get something. We'll launch it on a rocket and maybe we'll get it in this time. Like, dude, see how fragmented this is? See how bad? This is terrible. This is horrible systems engineering. Why do you think they brought Jim back? Dude, you know how much, like, just on a side, you know how much crap has to hit the fan for him to, like, for him to come back? Like, $11 billion gives you a lot of smaller missions. NASA seems to prioritize smaller missions over one mission, even though I personally was fully looking forward towards MSR. Yeah, Marcon, it's a little weird, right? Speaking of Jim, I had a question. I think I got auto-blocked because I used a Rule 8 word. Super interesting. What are your thoughts? I'm getting DMs left and right about people asking me if a certain result happens in November, would Jim come back? I don't know the answer to that question, guys. I don't know. That'd be cool. Maybe. I'm pretty sure he would. It's very clear that he'd want to. That's for sure. But who knows? Hey, Jude, what's going on? 51-month resub. All I'm hearing is that we should bring back the Saturn V. Or we should build more SLSs and we wouldn't have this problem. Dude, can you... Exo, yeah. Jim worked well. He worked well with SpaceX. Odd posts from Artemis. NASA Artemis, catching boosters, not feelings. Booster catch was a first for SpaceX and an important step towards rapid reusability as NASA and its industry partners developed landers to enable a regular cadence of lunar surface excursions under Artemis. Elon for NASA Special Advisor 2025. He's already basically a special advisor for 2025 journey. You just got to bring the right person in. Oh, okay. All right. That's enough. That's enough Instagram for the day. That's enough Instagram for the day. It's the reason why. It's the reason why I don't go there. Second thought. Let's not go to the gram. 'Tis a silly place. All right. So the Bridenstine-led Mars Sample Return Review Team, established yesterday, will examine these options for a complete mission design, which may be a composite of multiple studied design elements, and report by the end of 2024. Other members are Greg Robinson, former program director on James Webb, Lisa Pratt, former planetary protection officer at NASA, Steve Battle, president, Battle Engineering, professor of practice, University of Michigan. Hey, go blue. All right, cool. Phil Christensen, Regents Professor, School of Earth and Space Exploration, Arizona State University at Tempe. Eric Evans, Director Emeritus and Fellow, Lincoln Lab. Oh, cool. Right on. And Jack Mustard, ketchup. Now, Jack Mustard, and he's dude, how much crap do you think that guy got? For real. Jack Mustard, Professor of Earth, Environmental, and Planetary Science, Brown University. Maria Zuber, EA, Griswold Professor of Geophysics and Presidential Advisor for Science and Technology Policy, MIT. All right. I feel like we should have had a planned vehicle to bring it back before sending Perseverance. Shouldn't you have a plan? Well, the sample return stuff tray is a secondary mission for Perseverance. It was not the worst idea. It was not the worst idea sending Perseverance without figuring out a return, but also at the same time, once again, it's the budget, or whatever. They said it wasn't in the cards. Like, I contend to say if we developed there and back technology from the start, it may have been better, but that's not what Perseverance is for now, is it? I don't think Bill will get replaced, EXO. And regarding space flight policy, we've heard some from one side, but not much from the other. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. Odd things are happening at the IAC. You keep linking stuff now, I'm not going to be able to get through everything. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea. This is their vehicle. Hey man, yo, can I get your answers to the test? Yeah, sure. You can copy me, but just change your answers up a little bit. New Glenship. There you go. Zeb, you remember astronauts saying to Elon that he looked up to, telling him that he would never be able to make this happen. Nah, that's not really how that went down. Zeb, I know that exact interview. The exact interview where Scott Pelley asks Elon, like, Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan say, you're full of crap, you're full of crap, and Elon crying about it, which I'd be a little pissed off about that too. But you got to understand that the context The context in which Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan said that we shouldn't be going to SpaceX, the context of that conversation, and once again, this is super important to understand, Zeb. Neil and Gene liked SpaceX. They did. They thought it was a good idea. What they didn't like was a good idea is canceling our entire national space program in favor of a commercial contractor that might be viable in the future. You're losing a lot for a very, very small, at the time, a very small potential of a very big gain in the future. That's not a good way to conduct spaceflight, canceling stuff and saying that they've done it for less. I'm pretty sure that's how we ended up with the space shuttle. And they're 100% right. In that same testimony that 60 Minutes just cherry-picked in that interview to get a reaction out of Elon, in that same testimony, this is what they said. This isn't a verbatim quote. It's off the top of my head, but this is the gist. They said that if commercial contractors if we decide to just pull the rug out from our entire space program, getting rid of Constellation, getting rid of the space shuttle, and then trusting commercial contractors like Boeing or SpaceX to start a commercial program in lieu of that it would take about a decade for them to get up to where they were at the end of the shuttle program. That's what they said. They said that in a congressional testimony in 2010. When did DM2 launch? 2020. That's weird. That's a little strange. Huh. It's almost like they were 100% right. Scott Pelley cherry-picked the context of that question to get a reaction out of Elon because 60 Minutes sucks. You suck. Stay in your frickin' lane. Go look it up. You don't believe me? Go look up the congressional testimony. Sorry, just thought I had to bring that up. Also, what the hell is this? What are you going to do? All right. Steve Jurvetson did something awesome for SpaceX and Elon to help disprove the context of the comment. It's good.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
When was this? Hey, Rick. Tier 2 11-month reset. Keep up the excellent work, man. Thanks for all the valuable information. Sure. EJ, that's fine. Let's see them actually build it. Yeah, I know. There's a nice computer graphics. They said it's going to be ready in 2030 right there. Okay. Sure. Neil Armstrong sent a strongly worded letter to 60 Minutes for taking what he said grossly out of context. Reading a bit on Neil, it's completely out of character for what 60 Minutes said he said. Yeah. I was a little pissed off. Yeah, geek. Interesting. Gee, I wonder how this interview was 10 years ago. 12 years ago. That interview was in 2012. Gee, I wonder how long they've been doing that. That's great. Yeah, you know what? Let's not open up that can of worms. What did they take out of context? Hokey, they took out of context what Gene Cernan and Neil Armstrong said in a congressional testimony about canceling our national spaceflight program and how putting it on commercial contractors would take a decade to catch up. You've heard me talk about this. 60 Minutes phrased that in an interview with Elon in 2012 about they phrased it as Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan hate what you do. They say that you're not a solution, to try and elicit a reaction out of Elon to make a good story out of nothing, because they suck. Yeah, lost a lot of respect when I figured that out for 60 Minutes. And this wasn't like recent. I put two and two together when I was doing a lot of research about SLS in like 2016 or 2017. I'm like, wait a minute. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, more space news. So Jim is coming back to NASA, at least as an independent reviewer role for Mars Sample Return. That's good, man. That's real good. It's good. Be good to have him back. Hey, C. Kraken, what's going on? That's why it's important to watch those hearings live. Yep. The commercial sector isn't equipped to undertake these tasks yet. He said it would take them about a decade to get a manned space program. Actually, I think his exact words were, switching to commercial would set us back 10 years. It's almost like the first and last guys that walked on the moon that kind of oversaw the entire Apollo program from start to finish, at least from an astronaut standpoint, know how long it takes to build a space program. That's weird. Huh. Why would we listen to them? Right? Busy work, busy life. It's not a bad thing, Sea Kraken. It's not a bad thing. Anyway, here's a little bit of good news. In an apparent first, the state of Maine is going to pay to subsidize SpaceX Starlink terminals and give service under a new program announced Thursday by Governor Janet Millis in an effort to connect 9,000 homes and businesses with no internet access. Nice. Almost like they know how the whole system works. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Matt, my entire outlook on space flight, in terms of NASA needing to have their own rocket and SpaceX needing to have redundant capability and that being the most sustainable way forward is basically based off of that testimony. My entire point is based off of that. Based off of what Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan said in a congressional testimony. Everything that I teach you about the mistakes behind canceling Constellation and mistakes in program funding and mistakes in short-sightedness and contract structure and all of that is stemmed from basically those galvanizing statements. Guys, I know we're a little ways out. Neil Armstrong's been, he went back to the moon in 2012, right? Figuratively, right? We lost him in 2012, which really sucked. I think it was 2012 or 2013. But if you guys knew, like, dude, let me put it to you like this. You guys ever seen like a sitcom with, the dad in the sitcom is like sitting there all quiet like, right? Or if you've been over to a friend's house and dad sits all quiet like, right? And he's just quiet. He just sits there and he's quiet. And then you do something really stupid, like above the norm of like kids stupid. And the dad says like, I'm disappointed in you. What are you doing, Robert? And so you need to start to pull your head out of your, and, they give, you get the spiel. That's Neil. That's Neil Armstrong. I didn't know him personally, but the point that I'm trying to make is that when Neil Armstrong didn't do that. It's not like he testified to Congress. He basically stayed out of the public eye for 30 to 40 years after he, went to the moon. He just kind of did his own thing. You know how bad it needs to be for him to get hit, you know how bad it got for him to testify to Congress and to come out of the woodwork, throw himself into the political arena and start saying stuff like that? That should be a big red flag. And that was a red flag to me when I watched it. This was right when I was really starting to get into space flight in like 2009, 2010, That is a huge red flag. But I base my entire policy, like how I look at space flight policy and how I explain it and what I think is right, I base it all off of that. It's all off of that testimony, what they said. Because basing your entire statement, like if you're... if you have opinions about spaceflight policy, I think that Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan is probably a good place to start, the foundations of how you should go about conducting or like formulating opinions for spaceflight. I think that'd be a good place to start. Still hasn't failed me. Been doing that for a decade. I don't know, Zeb. I don't remember. Nicholas, I don't know if I'm the guy to answer that question, dude. I'll let you know. Yeah, guys, it's that I base my entire ideas about spaceflight from those two testimonies from Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan. And there is one more thing. Mike Griffin, he was the administrator of NASA at the time when, well, No, he wasn't administrator. He was the NASA administrator from 2004 to 2008. You think Jim was good? Mike Griffin was real good. Real good. Think about this for a second. 2004 to 2008. 2004, believe it or not, George Bush Jr., so W, fired the NASA administrator, Sean O'Keefe. He fired him in 2004 for Columbia, because of Columbia in 2003. Yeah, that turns out that being the guy in charge when 7 astronauts die is a good way to lose your job. Bush replaced him in 2004 with Mike Griffin, and Mike Griffin oversaw the foundations for the Constellation program, while simultaneously getting the shuttle not only to return to flight, but operate on a regular schedule and get the ISS assembly pretty much finished. Mike Griffin's damn good. He's damn good. Oh yeah, also, the vision for space exploration that he concocted had a little program in it called the Commercial Orbital Transport Services Program and the Commercial Crew Transport Capabilities Program. Those two programs are the program that saved SpaceX in the late 2000s from going bankrupt. Pretty good at making policy for NASA. Yeah, pretty good at running NASA, I'd say. Yeah, my entire, thesis about how I think about this stuff is based off of those two testimonies and Mike Griffin's architecture for NASA, because I think it's right. That's the right way to move. It's the right way to go. Save both SpaceX and Tesla at that time. Yeah, important to understand that. If anyone from the Apollo program tells you you're doing something dumb, you better listen. Matters. I thought it'd be a good place to start. If I'm gonna sit here and give opinions about the space program, you can't just pull stuff out of your tail. You have to know what you're talking about. Turns out space flight's a little complicated. When are they bringing the ISS down? 2030. But anyway, yeah, no, it's important stuff, guys. Once again, I'm not just some guy that just sits here and looks funny. I mean, yes, but wears a NASA hat for all this stuff just because I love rocket launches. No, dude, I live and breathe this stuff. Yeah, I live and breathe it every day. I'm like Mike Lowry. I take it to the max with rockets every day. Sorry, it's Bad Boys. You've not seen Bad Boys 2? I know I look funny, Terry. You don't need to tell me. I just said that. Also, random side note, the public-only meeting on the Boca Deluge permit is happening in an hour in Brownsville. Oh, man, how crappy do we want this space news to be, Thomas? From now on, that's how you drive. Cirrus, someone shot you in the butt. I mean, I was shooting. I did a lot of shooting. Someone shot you in the ass. Sorry. I'll time myself out again. All right. I hope we get someone who becomes a long-term director for NASA that fights for NASA and commercial space. Well, that's what Jim Bridenstine was, Trey. That's why I liked him so much. Some of his decisions were a little, but I understand why he made some of those decisions. Like Jim was the guy that awarded Bechtel, that oversaw the award for Bechtel's ML2 contract. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that was going to end poorly, but the vast majority of decisions that Jim did as NASA administrator were quite good. Quite good. Jim would not have canceled Viper. No. And I want to remind everybody, see Kraken, while we're on the subject, NASA canceled Viper, not Congress. Congress wants Viper to fly. NASA is the one that canceled it. Not a good look. Not a good look. Not a good look. Not a good look. Nope. I fell asleep and missed most of space news. What is threatening heavy on Artemis 2 that could push the launch? Artemis 2, Orion has a problem with its life support systems, Andrew. Its life support systems aren't up to spec, is the right way to say it. Now, the super technical way of saying it is that the Artemis 2 life support systems for Orion passed acceptance testing. But, and I know what you're going to say, that sounds right. The Artemis 3 life support systems for Orion failed acceptance testing. That's bad. That's very bad. The more you think about that, the worse that gets. Your life support systems are good for the second, but not for the third flight? Do you have differential flight criteria for Artemis 2 and 3? Artemis 3 are your baseline missions for all Artemis 3 is your baseline mission for all subsequent Artemis missions. Artemis 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? All are very similar missions, right? Your life support systems failed acceptance testing for Artemis 3. That means your spec wasn't good enough, which means your baseline for your capsule is wrong, at least from the life support front. Or you have a very bad QA issue. But how would you know if you have a QA or a QC issue? You've only made 2 of these things. Because the Artemis 1 Orion had no life support system on it. It was quite literally a tin can floating with air inside of it. That's it. It was just a sealed capsule. Right? Artemis 2 was the first mission to fly humans with life support, and it did, though the Artemis 2 life support systems did pass acceptance testing, the third ones did not. That's bad. That's bad. That's really bad. That's a big red flag. Also, the Artemis 1 Orion heat shield deformed and actually delaminated in a way, the Avcoat delaminated in a way that they didn't expect. That is a huge problem. You know, heat shields are kind of important. You need to make sure you get that exactly right. Oops. So will we see an SLS launch ever not launch an Orion? I don't know, Sea Kraken. I don't know the answer to that question. Can Congress force NASA to work on Viper? They forced NASA to work on SLS Trey. I don't see why not. If we had a chance to put you on a Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic, which would you choose? New Shepard all day, Zeb. Here we are. Get Whistling Diesel to test Orion. I mean, Cody would put the thing through the ringer, Exo. That's for sure. Stare. Yeah, I know. Weird, huh? I remember you saying a couple years back the reason why the AC was worried about SRB abort safety for Ares 1 was based on a shoddy Air Force Titan 4 report. Am I remembering that correctly? I didn't say that, Aiden, even though I've heard that, dude. My thing about Ares 1 is that Ares 1 was canceled halfway through development. NASA was trying to do rapid iterative testing on Ares 1. That's why they launched Ares 1X, which is basically a dud 5-segment booster with a dud upper stage. NASA was trying to get back to doing all-up iterative testing with Constellation. That's what they were trying to do. So Ares 1 was very much still into development. In development when they canceled it. And there were still some things that they had to figure out because you're always going to have unknown unknowns when you design a new launch vehicle. One of them was the abort window. If the winds were blowing in the wrong direction, there was a potential for the parachutes from Orion in the event of an in-flight abort to basically drift through the SRB plume. And if they did, that would destroy the parachutes. That was one of the glaring problems at the time. And everybody says, oh, Ares 1 never would have worked. Never would have worked, the abort window. Okay, all right, fine. Don't launch when it's windy. Most rockets do that anyway. The other one was the vibration problems. Turns out that the space shuttle with its 2 SRBs at the same time being connected on a gigantic structural crossmember through the external tank actually basically forms a gigantic tuning fork. And the vibrations from the SRBs cancel each other out. So, yeah, weird, right? If you take a single stick Ares 1 style rocket and have one single 5-segment, there's no other SRB to cancel out a lot of resonant vibration. So you run into a lot of vibration issues with a rocket like Ares 1. Because SRBs are a little violent. I don't know if you've seen what comes out the bottom. It's pretty hot and it's pretty violent, right? A lot of energy being expended very quickly. Great for a first stage, right? The other problem that they were trying to solve is putting a damper inner stage into Ares 1's design, which basically they had a prototype for, but it never got made. They were trying to put a damper in between to basically dampen out the vibrations on the SRB, which basically, what? It's NASA. What do you think? It wasn't going to work? Of course it was going to work. It's NASA. More importantly, it's late 2000s NASA, where, they actually did stuff like that. Anyway, my point is that the reason why everybody thinks Ares 1 is bad is because it got canceled halfway through development, and the problems that were there would have been a problem with anything. What if you'd canceled Falcon 9 halfway through its, quote unquote development? Think about it. So say NASA decided, nah, Falcon 9's too dangerous after the Jason 3 landing in early 2016. SpaceX had landed one booster at that point, and Jason 3 landed out on the drone ship, but a landing leg locking collet failed to latch, and it tipped over and crashed, right? What if they'd canceled Falcon 9 right after that? Or, SpaceX went bankrupt or something. Everybody would be peddling the same nonsense about Falcon 9 and reuse. Oh, SpaceX tried reuse again. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Right? Am I wrong? Nope. The reason why Ares 1 seemingly has so many problems is because it was canceled halfway through development and they didn't have all the known unknowns figured out. That's why. Ares 1's a good design. I'm sorry, it is. You want a low-cost launch vehicle? If you scale Ares 1, you actually have a pretty damn good Falcon 9 competitor. Not that it needs to, but it could. 25-ton payload capacity, reusable first stage, just saying. Refurbishable, I get it. But if you have enough casings, that cost can go down. For the same exact reasons that Falcon 9 reuses its fairings. Fairings aren't particularly expensive. But reusing the fairings means that you don't have a production bottleneck. Same is the case with SRB casings. SRB casings aren't expensive. You could just make more. Or you could go fish those out with some after you have some parachutes, you could go fish them out and bring them back so you have more casings so you can build more SRBs all at once. Same idea. It's a production bottleneck, not a manufacturing bottleneck, not a production bottleneck. Does that make sense? You could make a pretty cost-effective launch vehicle using SRBs like Ares 1. You know how I know? Here, give me a second. You know how I know? Northrop Grumman proposed to do just that. They ultimately didn't because Northrop Grumman proposed to do just that and didn't win any Air Force contracts for their Omega rocket right there. And then they promptly said, we're going to stop development on Omega. We'll just keep using Antares. The rocket that they have with a Ukrainian core stage and Russian engines. Keep in mind, this was before 2022 when they got rid of that. Oh, great decision, guys. That's why you guys haven't noticed the past two Cygnus launches have launched on Falcon. Wasn't the whole point to have two resupply? No, they're now retooling Antares to make a new version of it that uses Firefly engines in the first stage instead of Russian engines, which is still pretty cool. But also, the Air Force paid you $500 million to develop this thing. If you'd followed through with that, I bet you it probably would have been cheaper. Just saying. Probably would have been a little cheaper. But hey, whatever. Antares. No, Snake, don't worry. I know that Space News has been pretty bad lately. Like, this is all really bad news. The Starlink news is pretty dope, though. That's pretty good, right? What else do we got? NASA's weighing options for continuous presence in low Earth orbit after the IF. Is there any good news? What's this one? Sierra Space. We've won a flight award for our trash compactor and processing system. NASA plans to test this tech on the ISS in 2026. The system compresses trash into solid squared tiles that can be used for radiation protection while recovering 98% of water. Hey, some good news. All right. Yes. Yes. The good news is about trash. All right. The night is darkest before the break of dawn. Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so, dude. I hope you're right, Snake. Please. Please. Good news, everyone. I've developed a trash compactor for space. Oh, Professor, that's such a good idea. Here, let me try to eat some of the cubes. No, you're not supposed to eat the cubes, you nincompoop. You can use them for radiation protection. Did someone share the Tim Urban op-ed about him taking his daughter to IFT 5? No, but that's pretty cool. Shut down all the garbage smashers on the detention level. Shut them all down. Hurry. Here's something to cheer you up. That's been linked. It's been linked already. Yeah. Trash is the future. I can see it. Good news, everyone. We can get water out of your poop. All right, here. Different news from Firefly. Ready to set another industry record. Firefly is proud to partner with The True Anomaly, defining the next generation of space security, to launch United States Space Force's Space Systems Command Victus Hayes. That was a joke. Please, for the love of God, it's Victus Hayes. I get it. I know. But also, Victus on Firefly Alpha for another 24-hour tactically responsive space tackers mission. Cool. Good. Victus Shaze. That's what it says. It says Victus Shaze. Hey, what's Fedrile mean? Sounds like the title of a Prince song. Nice. Yeah, Baron, we knew about the X-37 stuff. Do NASA need a complete overhaul in terms of administration? I'd keep Bill, honestly, as Phil. And probably Pam. Yeah, Pam Melroy's cool. Other than that, yeah. Yeah. Watched this the other day. Sounds like what SpaceX wants to do. What's that, Roadrunners? Oh, Direct. Yeah. Direct was a good idea, dude. Here. Roadrunners, I'm gonna give you regular, dude. You can post links. Don't abuse the privilege, man. I know you won't, but I say it just because now it's on the public record, you know. Did you see this? The student team Gruyere has hit 100 meters with their hopper. Ooh. I'm probably not saying their name right, Thomas, but let me check it. Let's check it. We need to see something cool. Headphone users, this is probably going to be loud. Headphone users, you have 10 seconds to comply. What's the difference between SLS and Direct? I can break it down in a second here. Also, that is cheese that's zip tied to the leg. Okay. Summer down. Got a little bit of a roll right there. Bro, let's go! That's so cool. All right. All right, bring it down. That's awesome, Trey. There you go. All right, bring it on home. Bring it on home. Impressive. Impressive. Most impressive. That's not easy to do, man. That's really hard to get that right. Dude, the fact that it landed back down on the board, even like the fact that it was close, that's really good, man. Magnifique. That's real good. That's cool, man. I want to see the view from that GoPro. Damn. What is an RS-68? It's a expendable Hydrolox, extremely powerful expendable Hydrolox engine. It's basically an expendable shuttle motor, Pwn Sister. Yeah. Yeah. 101 watching, but you only have 3 likes. Hit the like button or whatever. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. Wait, no, that's somebody else. Anyway, super cool. That's awesome. They had a tethered flight campaign. I believe this might have been his second free flight. Dude, the fact that they got that thing to come back and land where it took off from is pretty impressive, dude. Now face the wall, please. We're at 37 likes now. Thank you, guys. Dude, guys, I appreciate you over in the YouTube chat reminding me because, you know, the YouTube stream is a fairly new thing. But if you know me, I hate doing stuff like that, man. I usually make fun of people that do that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like and comment and subscribe, bros. Like I don't do that. But with that being said, it does help. It does help, and I'll have you know I applied for monetization on the YouTube stream this morning, guys. So we'll, you know, we can get those YouTube membies. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's kind of cringe. My running rule in content creation that's been kind of modus operandi for a better part of a decade is I don't ask for subscriptions. I don't ask for follows. I earn them. And I intend to keep that rule, you know? But anyway, thank you very much for hitting that like, dudes. I do appreciate it. It does help me out. If you could do me a solid and just remember to do it, that'd be awesome. Because so 2 things. A, I'm probably going to forget. And B, you're probably going to need to remind me to remind everybody else. Anyway, I appreciate all the support over there, guys. We'll get it. And dude, I'm not going to sit, dude. Okay, I was talking with Drummer about this a little bit earlier. Like, if the YouTube stream takes off, that gives your boy a lot more disposable income. And also introduces us to a much bigger demographic. First saw you on NSF and liked your commentary. Finally found your own YouTube. Thanks, Darkru. I appreciate it. Yeah. NSF has been instrumental in growing the YouTube stream. But, so the Coronet, actually, it wouldn't be disposable income. Let's say, Hokey, that it'd be reusable income. Just saying. I know people. Tax write-off? Oh, you read my mind, dude. You know what I would really like to do? Okay, little bit off the rails time. Tangent time. I would want to do high-powered rocketry, right? But 2 things, okay? The first thing is that I would like to land the thing, okay? The second thing is... Oh. Yeah. I mean, Who said you can't mount a rail to a truck, right? If you're doing HPR, you think they'd go for the L3 cert if I built a truck into a rocket launcher? Not like a missile launcher. No. Rockets. They, you know, a rocket that goes up and comes down. You know, like lands right next to it or something. Like, I don't need like multiple rails. I just want one. I just want to build a transporter erector into the back of my truck and use that to launch high-powered rockets. Like, is that bad? Talk to Joe. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't even need to be on the truck. I just want to build a transporter erector. I think that would be cool. I mean, I'd talk to the, you know, if you're going for an L1, L2, L3, you're already, like, good. Like, wait, you aren't planning on restoring a Dacia 300? No, Scallywag. Fiat Panda. Fiat Panda. That is almost certainly not legal. Yeah, I know. All right, fine. It's going to have to be on a trailer, Blue, but that's fine. It's fine. Good luck getting it past the FAA. Are you guys not familiar with what an L1, L2, L3 cert is? Seems like a lot of you guys don't know what that is. What those are. Let me see. Ray, you try to watch every stream and like every time. Everyone here is awesome. Thanks, man. You know, like, yeah. Trailer towed by a truck. Yeah, thousands. That'd be pretty cool. Please do explain. Well, those are your high-powered rocketry certifications. You can build bigger and bigger rockets, but that's like you get L1, L2, and L3 certifications for going through the proper channels. So if you're going to get your L1 cert, you'd be launching on a controlled range where something like that would be okay to, you know, do. Is that a splitsy raid for 258 people? Arranged like far. Yeah, exactly. So that's a splitsy raid. I don't think I know Splitsy. Do I know you? So, okay. All right. I'm simulcasting on YouTube. So let me explain this. YouTube, another streamer just raided the stream. And so if you guys hear me yell raid, like somebody brought all their viewers over to me. Either way. Splitsy, thank you very, 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 very much. Premier Aussie Twitch streamer. All right. Right. That's great, mate. I came across you via the KSA thing thanks to Rocket. All right. Might have seen my name there. That's where I recognize you from. All right. That's awesome, Splitsy. Yeah. Okay. I was like, God, dude, I know that name. I know that. I don't remember. But anyway. Yeah, the KSA thing. Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah, that's a pretty good thing. Can I have $1 billion? I want to build an ML. No. They do have a raid mechanic over on YouTube, but I'm not sure it's the same. Yeah. It's like, they call it redirecting or something. But anyway, Splitsy, thank you very much for the raid. Yeah, we're talking about rockets and we were talking about high-powered rocketry for a second, but we can get back to space news here in a second. Guys, Splitsy's good people. I don't know Splitsy too well, but I know. Go give Splits a follow. You won't be disappointed. Trust me. We have that KSA connection. No, I can't say what that means. Maybe some other time. For North American, that accent wasn't too bad. All right. I'll take that, mate. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Because usually it's like, stop talking. Nah, Split. One of my better friends in chat, a good friend of mine is Domino, where are you from? Some city with a made-up name. It's not Kerbal Space Academy. From Newcastle, mate. All right, that's pretty. That's not so much a made-up name. It's not as bad. No, like Walla Walla Bang Bang or whatever. Originally from Dubbo. That's what it is. That's a made-up name. That's not a silly name. Anyway, Splitsy, thank you for the raid, buddy. I do appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's see what this weighing option human presence and Leo thing is. You and Splitsy playing Space Engineers or Stationeers together would be epic. Right on. Dubbo, wasn't there an elephant called that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. You're welcome. Have a good one. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it, dude. Oh, posting a map link in chat, dude. Seen that? Oh. Oh. Anyway, all right. This is a Space News article coming from Jeff Faust. Let's see. This is coming out of the IAC, so it's in Milan, so Italy. So NASA is rethinking its desire for a continuous human presence in low Earth orbit during the transition from the International Space Station to commercial platforms to include options where, at least temporarily, the agency may not always have astronauts in orbit. Didn't see that one coming. Oh boy. Would you like me to explain? I would love to hear this. In a talk at the IAC on October 16th, NASA's development of a low Earth orbit microgravity strategy, Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy mentioned that she called the elephant in the room of a desired continuous human presence in low Earth orbit. NASA has had astronauts on the ISS continuously since 2000. Continuous human presence. What does that mean? She said in a discussion of feedback NASA received to a draft of a strategy that published in August. It is a continuous heartbeat, or is it a continuous heartbeat or a continuous capability? Well, we originally hoped that this would just emerge from this process. We're still having conversations about that. Yeah, I know, Trey. We'll see. Let's read on. The comment puzzled some attendees and some people who watched a stream that's commenting on this comment about the attendees. Yeah. Okay. Who had assumed that continuous human presence meant having people in space continuously. In a later briefing, she called the concept continuous heartbeat. There are reasons to have people in orbit continuously to conduct research, she said, and concerns science would be lost if there was a gap in human presence. Okay. Yeah. In addition, there's a national posture element to it to not have humans on orbit after what would be nearly 30 years of continuous presence, she said, referencing the planned retirement of the ISS in 2030. An alternative approach, continuous capability, would mean retaining the ability to have humans in orbit even without maintaining a continuous presence. That could be an option if initial commercial space stations have limited resources. Okay. I'm genuinely curious how much you guys pay attention. Who was here probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago when I said how Axiom Space getting the spacesuit contract is causing big problems and is forcing NASA to potentially face a stopgap in capability between the ISS and the Commercial Low Earth Orbit Destinations Program? You guys remember? Who was there for that? You remember that? Yeah. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you weren't there, that's basically what I said. And also, this is the second in charge at NASA saying this 3 weeks later. Look, man, I'm going to take the W. I take a lot of L's. I'm taking this W, okay? Yeah. It turns out that NASA had a company, or has a company called Axiom Space that they were contracting to build onto the ISS, right, as a practice space station, and then detaching the ISS when it needs to be disposed of, so Axiom has their own free-floating space station. They also gave the contract for the Artemis 3 and lunar extravehicular activity spacesuit to them at the same time, and basically that put them in a financial position, awarding them that contract to choose to do one or the other. Guess which one they chose? I give you three guesses. They didn't choose the station. They rolled out yesterday at the same International Astronaut Congress that this article is talking about with their spacesuit that they collaborated with Prada on, the clothing company. Okay. We know that our partners are going to evolve. We didn't build the space station overnight, and they won't either, so they will have limited capabilities to start with. That could support concepts where commercial space stations were crew-tended initially, but could later expand to having crews on board continuously as the stations and their business cases evolve. Copium detected. Do we need a continuous heartbeat to achieve our objectives, or could we live with something like a crew-tended capability and maybe evolve to a continuous heartbeat? Said Robin Gatens, ISS director at NASA headquarters. Melroy said the agency thinking was starting to converge more towards continuous heartbeat. God, I hope so. Which would also sustain the business models of companies providing crew and cargo transportation to commercial space stations. It doesn't matter if you have a space station if there's no way to get there. Precisely. Without a continuous heartbeat, the organism dies. Yeah. Interesting choice of words, Bellum, right? Like, okay. What company do you think would most likely be the next ISS? I don't know. Probably Vast or Axiom. Vast has my vote. They're the ones that have the most hardware. Per what we've seen the other day, I'm actually really impressed with them. So some context to this statement, guys. NASA invented the Commercial Crew Program to give the seed money to build spacecraft, to have the commercial sector build spacecraft to move people to the ISS. NASA is buying a service. They don't operate the spacecraft, but they do operate the space station, right? When the ISS goes, what they want to do is commercialize the entire thing end to end, pay for a service, right? On a rideshare mission, like on a Dragon, like have a Dragon mission, send NASA astronauts up to a commercial station that NASA has bought time on, basically a timeshare for doing scientific research on a space station. What NASA is proposing here is the potential, or like they're weighing the options of the potential of not having a space station to go to between the time when the ISS deorbits and when these commercial partners come online. That's called a stopgap. Okay? You have a period of time where there is no destination. Now, considering that one of these spacecraft, it basically has no other mission, Starliner, has no other mission than go to the ISS, getting rid of the ISS and not having something, to directly replace it would make this spacecraft that's only designed to go to the ISS, Starliner, probably, useless. The whole point of the Commercial Crew Program was to establish a low Earth orbit economy. That doesn't work without destinations for your low Earth orbit, for your spacecraft to be able to get to. That doesn't work. It doesn't work if they have no destination. Nobody's going to just take a joyride to low Earth orbit. Not everybody's Jared Isaacman. And I should have chose my words better. Rook, that was not a joyride. They actually did a lot of scientific research and helped evaluate SpaceX's new EVA suit. That was not a joyride.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Other things were, but that's another story, right? Hey, Jamio's 85-month resub. Yeah, just a gap. So, yeah, not a stopgap. Sorry, I misspoke. Anyway, so we reached 100 likes. Oh, thank you. So for the reason why I'm having this kind of guttural reaction to this is because NASA proposing to, maybe we won't have this continuous presence thing, and maybe we'll step into it, is stupid. That's not a good idea. Maybe we'll develop a new upper stage for our moon rocket, and then maybe we'll figure out what we're going to do with it later. I've heard this story before. NASA not maintaining a NASA basically letting go of the stakeholder expectation of having a continual astronaut presence in low Earth orbit at all times, keeping the streak going, is directly counterintuitive to the commercial low Earth orbit destinations program and the commercial crew program inadvertently. Without any destinations, there's no place for these spacecraft to go. What's the point? Now, once again, personally, I think that NASA relying on commercial low Earth orbit destinations would be good for the low Earth orbit economy, but I also think that NASA should have their own, albeit smaller, space station that's for scientific research all the time, and they should just send astronauts to multiple research installations. If it was up to me, I'd have a space station that's designed for solar research. I'd have one that's designed for Earth observation and climate change. I would have another one, another space station that's designed for astronaut training. I would have another one that's designed for, living and working in space, which is kind of, what the astronaut training is, right? You could spread it out. You could spread out contracts for all these stations to do different things. I think NASA should retain an in-house station for training. It should just be in like a Skylab or something, right? But also have these low Earth orbit destinations to supplement this, so they could have, fly astronauts on these stations, et cetera, et cetera. So just different starships, if we get to that point, Fabricator. Yeah. But basically deciding to get rid of this streak, we all know how this is going to end. I can predict the future here in this regard. Well, not predict the future. Oh, I can predict the future. I'm a genius. Sometimes my genius amazes me. Who talks like that, right? Having, even the fact that NASA is even thinking about stopping the streak of continuous human presence in low Earth orbit tells me that if that plan actually does happen, that we're going to be waiting 5 to 10 years for a commercial space station to come online, if we're lucky. I've heard this story before, there's no reason for me to think otherwise. Every time somebody has said something like this, oh, let's stop the streak, oh, let's stop the space shuttle, we'll have a replacement soon. Every time people have had this tune at NASA, it has not ended very well. So with that context there, let's read on. The analysis that will support not just NASA's low Earth orbit microgravity strategy, but also plans for the next phase of the commercial low Earth orbit development program at the agency to support the development of commercial space stations. Whoa, hold on. That analysis will support not just NASA's LEO microgravity strategy, but also plans for the next phase of the commercial low Earth orbit development program at the agency to support the development of commercial space stations. The second phase will fund one or more companies to certify their stations for NASA astronauts and to purchase services on these stations, okay? Would it not be completely trivial to build an ISS replacement? One Starship launch module could equate the ISS in volume with multiple... All right, Bill, I'll answer that. All right, here, hold up. Now, I know it. I see it in YouTube and I see it in over here. All right, so listen. Bill, you asked, since Starship is going to fly dozens and dozens of times per year before 2030, would it not be completely trivial to build an ISS replacement? Just one Starship launch module could equal the ISS in volume and with multiple, you could easily reach stuff on par or larger than the dual keel Freedom designs. I don't get why all these commercial space station concepts I've seen are either small or scheduled to grow into the mid to late 2030s. So we should just put all our eggs in one basket in Starship? Pretty sure we tried that with a reusable space vehicle in the past, and that didn't work. 1986 called. They want their strategy back. No, we remember commercial crew. And guys, people say, you know, well, there's another article about Starliner here that we're going to talk about. So we're just going through all the crap today. No, you know, people ask me, is Starliner going to get canceled? No, it's not going to get canceled. It's vital to NASA's long-term goals to have two redundant dissimilar architecture carriers to get into space. And it's going to be vital for NASA to have two different space station destinations to get to, right? One of them that's supposedly supposed to be the stopgap is not going to happen on time because they decided to throw them a spacesuit contract. They decided to throw a company that's specializing in astronaut intervehicular activities in space stations. They threw them a contract for an extravehicular activity suit because NASA's in-house spacesuit program was never funded correctly. And they cited poor performance despite not getting funding as the reason to cancel it and replace it with the Axiom contract. They also gave a contract to Rockwell Collins for the Artemis 3 spacesuit, and Rockwell Collins pulled out of that contract last year. Oops. Or no, that was this year. Anyway. So, without multiple destinations, without redundant dissimilar carriers, without redundant dissimilar stations, and maybe even a NASA in-house station, right? I'm talking something like Salyut, not something like the ISS, right? Like Salyut or Skylab. That would be the most sustainable in the long run because NASA still has their own in-house space station, right? That they can use to train newer astronauts, maybe astronauts that go out to the moon eventually, right? You give them some spaceflight experience, right? And they can also buy tickets to do science at their leisure. For instance, if NASA wants to put a bunch of people on a Starship in a future where Starship is commercially rated, you need a crew of 100 people, or maybe even a crew of 50 or 20, right? Wouldn't it be nice to get those people some experience in low Earth orbit? Maybe with a Dragon, or maybe with a Starliner, maybe with a Dream Chaser in the future. And then you send them on a Starship, or you send them on an Orion somewhere beyond low Earth orbit, right? See what I'm talking about? Bill, the reason why I think you need multiple redundant stations and the reason why I even want NASA to have a lower cost space station is because that builds the foundation for us to go further. It builds a good commercial foundation that's sustainable. Why? Now, I know what the next question is. Why have NASA have their own station? You have to set a price point somewhere. Got to set a price point somewhere. The whole reason why the commercial crew program was hailed as such a good idea is because the space shuttle was so expensive, right? But without that price point, how would you know if Falcon 9's expensive? How would you know? The space shuttle was a price point that inadvertently validated Dragon because it was so inexpensive. And Starliner by proxy. Starliner is still less expensive than the space shuttle. Right? See what I'm saying? You have to have a benchmark. And this is why I think NASA having redundant dissimilar capability to the commercial market is the most sustainable way forward. It's not the most cost-effective way forward. Absolutely not. No way. But it's the most sustainable way forward. Hey, Lone Wolf, we can see you. Do you think the Chinese will overtake the USA on the moon base? No, not at this point in time, Taco, but I don't know. If NASA keeps going down this path, it's going to be a while. Cadence is key. That's right, RZ. You got it, man. What if Crew Dream Chaser becomes operational before Starliner and is able to recover from the crew test flight 2? Do you think Starliner will die? No. It's important for NASA to keep Starliner going. And Boeing is on the hook for 6 missions. But there's another article from Space News about that. We can read more about that in a second. Government bloat isn't really a good benchmark for costs, though. Yeah, exactly, Scream, but you wouldn't know it's bloat if you didn't have commercial space stations to compare it to. You got to understand, this keeps the market on an even keel for low Earth orbit operations. Like I said, it's not the cheapest way to do things, but it's a way that'll work. Is that Titan?
It is.
Is that Titan?
Titan.
Was he sitting on your bed with your ball? Oh, look at you. Here, buddy. Hi. How you doing? How you doing? Look at this boy. He came right in and sat down.
Yeah, he's never done that.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? You brought me a ball. Nope. He's like, no, it's mine.
I brought me a ball.
Oh, God. Oh, gosh. Oh, no. All right. We're good. Hey, buddy.
Hi, Chet.
Brilliant Titan paid us a visit.
Yeah. What are we talking about on Space News?
NASA is talking about having a gap in human presence after having consecutive human in space for 30 years. They're talking about how it might be a good idea. So that's the face that I had. Yeah, you guys can imagine the face that Brimo just made. They're saying that how it might be a better idea waiting till the commercial partners are ready. Yeah, Brimo's making, you know what face Brimo's making right now, guys? See? Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was gonna see, do you want him to hang out for a little bit?
Yeah, sure, if he
I know
wants
he
to.
hasn't done that in a while. and
Yeah.
he came right in and laid on the bed. So.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
All
Just shut the door.
Hey, get back. You want to hang out with Daddy?
Exactly the
go.
face I envisioned. Heyo, bio. Yeah, we're reading through this article, and I'm not. But yeah, it's like
Good.
it's bad. It's bad. Like it's bad. Anyway, yeah, it's awful.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Here, I want to get the towel for the boy. Put it under here in case he wants to hide under the desk. There we go.
Enjoy the dog. Here's his leash.
Okay.
You're gonna hang out with Daddy for a little bit.
He wants to go with you.
Too late.
Is that the face she normally gives you? No, not really.
All right.
All right.
Love you. See
Love you.
No.
The dog, she opened the door and he was like, "Where are you going? Where?" Now he's looking at the door all perplexed. Hey, come here. I got your ball. Come here. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Doggo cam for the rest of Space News. Yeah, you'll see him. You'll see him around. Anyway, so yeah, I think NASA and commercial having basically two price points will automatically make those price points meet in the middle, because it'll protect against NASA having a bloated, ridiculous space station, but it'll also keep a good price point for a commercial. Like basically commercial saying, "Oh, I can do this for less. I can do this for less." It keeps the market competitive. Now, you could say that you could do that just with a bunch of commercial stations. Sure, that might be a good idea. But with NASA saying nonsense like this, is it really a good idea? Right? I see that mess of cables over there. Over where? Oh. Yeah, that's the guitar and the headphones for the amplifier. Whatever. It's fine. Don't judge me. The rest of the cable management is good. I swear. You just take my word for it. All right. Sour grapes and cope. Really, it really is Sandy, right? Do you think Starship will work? Absolutely, Trey. No doubt in my mind after what I saw on Sunday. This may actually tank the commercial programs without the framework that NASA provides. Yeah, I know, Bren. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. This is anyway. The agency still desires a phased transition from the ISS to commercial space stations, where there is an overlap between the development of the first commercial space station and the retirement of and deorbiting of the ISS. This gets to the continuous heartbeat discussion. Melroy said at the briefing, when asked if there was flexibility in the retirement date of the ISS, she noted that the U.S. deorbit vehicle, the spacecraft that will conduct the final maneuvers to re-enter the station, has a timer clock that limits its on-orbit lifetime to 1.5 years. There's no way we should launch something that has a ticking clock until you have another capability that you're sure of. As soon as we have the minimum capability we need, we will deorbit the ISS. That minimum capability, she said, was the USDV and at least one commercial space station. Those two conditions need to be met. Oh, thank God. Oh, ho, ho, ho. All this anger before even reading to the end. Shmemeron, no, it's justified. They shouldn't even be thinking about this. You shouldn't even be thinking about this. We should not be in this position. I agree, Aqualex. Anyway, finalizing the strategy. The discussion about continuous human presence is one part of a broader evaluation about feedback to the strategy, which outlines 42 goals in areas such as science, technology developments, and international cooperation that NASA wants to pursue in low Earth orbit even after the end of the ISS. The strategy uses the same approach that NASA took in development of its Moon to Mars architecture. Oh boy. Including soliciting feedback from stakeholders. Melroy said that NASA received more than 1,800 responses to the draft low Earth orbit microgravity strategy and conducted 2 workshops, one for international partners and one for those in industry and academia. NASA is reviewing these comments and incorporating them into a final version of the strategy to be published by the end of the year. These comments, she said in her talk, included a desire to provide more emphasis on space sustainability and to better explain why humans needed to be in low Earth orbit. Everyone wants to see themselves front and center in these goals and objectives, Gayton said at the briefing, with feedback from some international partners and scientists who said the goals didn't emphasize their areas or interests enough. Others noted a desire to better explain what NASA meant about its goal for sustainable destinations. In low Earth orbit included a draft report such as the cadence of missions or their costs. People really appreciated us doing this, she said, of the feedback on the strategy. The feedback that we've gotten has been very constructive. I don't know, Lord Gugu. I don't think they know either. The dog wants me to play. Come here. Come here, you meat. You sucker. Come here. You gonna give me the ball? Come on. He's looking at me like, no, it's mine. Oh. Now you move. All right, I see how it is. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? Hey. Is that your ball? You got your ball? Come on. He loves that ball. Do your thing. I'll be over here. You know, it'd be nice to have a Titan emote. You know what would be nice? When people don't ask you the same question every day. But here we are, geek. Titan agrees with you. Dude, I'll be honest with you. Not about the Titan mode. I'll be honest with you about that ISS article. The fact that NASA is even considering that alternative approach, if I had to guess, they're saying that as a way to say, look, this is what's going to happen if we don't do this right now. I think that's why Pam was saying that, to kind of some context after we read the whole article. I'm pretty sure they're saying, well, we want to have a continuous approach, but if we don't get the money that we need, we're not going to have a continuous approach, you know. But that's what we want, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's just a little bit of languageese there. You know what I mean? But that's good. That tells me that that's, you know, at least Pam still has a good head on her shoulders. She's cool. If you guys don't know, that was Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy. She's number 2 at NASA behind Bill. She's flew the space shuttle. And when I say flew the space shuttle, I mean like flew the space shuttle and commanded shuttle missions on top of that too. Titan agrees. Oh boy. So, yeah, Pam knows what's up. She flew a bunch of shuttle missions. Give Blue something to do. The Escapade mission. All right. NASA further delays first operational Starliner. This is another one coming from Jeff Faust. Titan wants a funded NASA. He does. He does. This is also coming out of the IAC. NASA will use Crew Dragon for here, I'll make this bigger so people can see it. NASA will use Crew Dragon for its 2 crew rotation missions to the International Space Station in 2025 as it continues to evaluate if it will require Boeing to perform another test flight of its Starliner spacecraft. In an October 15 statement, NASA said it will use Crew Dragon for both the Crew 10 mission to the ISS, scheduled for net February 2025, and the Crew 11 mission scheduled for net July 2025. Crew 10 will fly NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers, along with astronaut Takuya Onishi from the Japanese Space Agency and Roscosmos cosmonaut Kirill Peskov. NASA has not yet announced the crew for the Crew 11 mission. Earlier this year, NASA had hoped that the Starliner capsule would be certified in time to fly the early 2025 mission. Oh, jeez. Problems with the crew flight test mission, which launched in June, with NASA astronauts Butch Wilmer and Sonny Williams on board, led NASA to conclude in July that the spacecraft would not be certified in time. It delayed the Starliner 1 mission from February to August of 2025, moving up Crew 10 to February. NASA has also announced then that it would prepare Crew 11 in parallel with Starliner 1 for launch in that August 2025 slot. Okay. The timing and configuration of Starliner's next flight will be determined once a better understanding of Boeing's path to system certification is established. NASA said in a statement about the 2025 missions, NASA is keeping options on the table for how best to achieve system certification, including windows of opportunity for a potential Starliner flight in 2025. NASA has not provided any updates on the reviews of Starliner's crew flight test mission, which ended September 7th with an uncrewed landing in New Mexico, after NASA concluded it was safer to have Wilmer and Williams return on the Crew 9 Crew Dragon mission in early 2025. At the time of Starliner's return, agency officials suggested they could still proceed directly to Starliner 1, despite thruster problems and helium leaks with the spacecraft. It's under data review. We need to have a decision. Do we need another test flight? Said Pam Melroy when asked about the status of the Starliner review at a press conference. She added that there was no timeline for completing that data review. Another open issue for future commercial flights is whether NASA and Roscosmos would continue to exchange seats between Soyuz and commercial crew vehicles. Such integrated crews where NASA astronauts fly on Soyuz and Roscosmos fly on Dragon is meant to ensure both agencies maintain a presence on the station if either spacecraft is grounded for an extended period of time. Currently, no NASA astronauts are assigned to Soyuz spacecraft beyond Johnny Kim on the next Soyuz mission to the ISS, Soyuz MS-27, in March of 2025. Roscosmos officials released in August crew manifests for the following two Soyuz flights, 2-8 in late 2025 and 2-9 in 2026, that were comprised entirely of Roscosmos cosmonauts. At another ISC press conference, October 15th, Bill Nelson expressed confidence that NASA and Roscosmos would agree to extend the seat barter agreement. That's coming in due course. It will be a normal negotiation. That's coming in due course. It will be a normal negotiation. We fully expect that the flights will continue to be integrated. So this article basically says that they still got to figure out basically what to do. So what do you do, right? Like, what do you do? So for some context, the crew flight test has the CFT flight had problems with the thruster blocks. Starliner has 4 clusters of thrusters on the service module. They're called, the slang term for them, the space slang term is called doghouses. Each doghouse holds, I don't know, like 13 thrusters or something. It's a lot. The problem that they ran into is that during station operations, when they were getting the capsule near the space station, the temperatures inside one of these thruster blocks got too hot and started damaging thrusters. To the point where the thrusters basically became inoperable due to thrust degradation because they got too hot. Hear me out, strap Orion to New Glenn. There you go. Hello, astronaut administrator senator NASA director Bill Nelson. Oh, thank you for calling me by my full job title. The proof is in the pudding. Clusters of Thrusters is your band name. Yeah, baby. Oh man, the Yankee. Nope. All right, I'm not reading the end of that. I don't care. So, you know, Boeing adjusted their algorithms on they adjusted their control mechanisms on Starliner to be able to withstand the temperature. But this really goes back to a problem that Boeing had that they admitted in a press conference after Starliner made it up to the space station. They didn't do the math behind the temperatures. They're behind the temperature increases on their doghouses. They didn't do the math. Well, I should say they didn't do the math right. Their thermal analytical model for overheating thrusters was completely off, and it was off by a significant margin. And we know that because they blew out a couple of thrusters. Well, they blew out one thruster. The other ones kind of returned to normal after they cooled off. But also, yeah, the overall temperature inside of those doghouses got too high, enough that it probably damaged some hardware somewhere. They don't know. We don't know because we never got hands on that service module. However, like the article said, Starliner did come back down in one piece, and everything seems okay.
Discovery,
everything seemed with the capsule, part of the capsule that came back, seems okay. But how do you go about solving this thruster problem? What do you do? Launch another one? They only have a certain amount of those. They have plenty of Starliner capsules, but they don't have Atlases. There's only 6 Atlases left for launching the 6 contracted Starliner missions. So how do you test it? What do you do? Do you test it in how do you test it in the vacuum? Right? Interesting conundrum to be in. Because if you certify it for flying crew and then you go to launch Starliner 1 and the same problem happens because you couldn't test for it, now what? What were the helium leaks from? The helium leaks were, hey, why the heck not? Hey, thanks for that Prime sub. I appreciate it. Jamio's had an 85er in there too. Sorry, guys. The headset keeps turning off and I don't hear the sounds. Launch a doghouse on a rideshare mission. Yeah, maybe. So how's the helium leaks were happening in the doghouses? And I don't know this for sure. Take this at face value. I'm pretty sure they started experiencing more helium leaks than anticipated because the thrusters overheated and started melting things. Come here. Get up here. Hey, it's a good boy. Hey, no piranha puppy. Hey, no piranha puppy. My hand isn't a chewy toy, you jerk. Yeah, there you go. You got the ball. Get up here. Get up here with your ball. Titan loves ball. And some of you pointed out the Kong ball. Amazing. What? Oh, yeah, you like that, right? That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Mwah. It is now. So, how's they did now that doesn't mean that they didn't have helium leaks to start. They did have helium leaks. They did have helium leaks on Starliner when it was on the ground, but something to understand from a spacecraft operations point of view, if you have anything that uses helium on a spacecraft, it's most likely going to leak. It's just how much is it going to leak? Helium is an extremely small element. It's tiny, very tiny. It likes to leak. Your leak rate is what matters, not stopping the leak. Stop it. You can't, because you can't stop helium from leaking fully. It's always going to do it. Why is it always going to do it? Physics. Physics. That's like having a boat not have any water in the bilge. It's not going to happen. For people that don't understand that reference, yeah, I don't know. It's like having a straight peanut butter sandwich, not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's not happening. It's not happening. That's weird. Come on, you little meat. You little meat. What if you toast the toast, though? I don't know. Helium is just like a War Thunder forum. That's good. That's a good one. Yeah, helium's just like the War Thunder forums. They're always going to have leaks. Yeah, no problem, House. The problem, so that helium leak that they knew about when they left the pad, not a big deal. The fact that they encountered more on the uphill ride between launch and the ISS, problem. What happened to those? What happened to those SEALs?
Oh,
And once again, this is why Pam said in that article that they don't really have a timeline on when this is going to be finished, because you don't even know what you need to fix yet. You got to figure this stuff out. That's going to take some time. Nova gifted a sub to O10. Thank you very much. Oh, you got your ball, Titan? There you go. You got it? You got your ball? There you go. You got your ball. You're a good boy. Good boy. So, anyway, all right. Titan, my other keyboard is not a pillow, okay? Hot space news. What do you got? Hot space news in your area. Oh, yeah. I'll talk about this brief. The U.S. government eases export controls on space technologies. Yeah, basically, the U.S. government is trying to ease ITAR technologies to allied nations. In the past, like, you couldn't go and launch a rocket out of Australia, for instance. And you can't, like, ship rocket engines to Australia to launch or something, or Japan or whatever. You can't do stuff like that. And now there is Rocket Lab. There are exceptions on a case-by-case basis, but U.S. is trying to ease export controls on space technologies. So, I'll give you an example of what this would be a good case for. SpaceX landing Starship on a suborbital flight off the coast of Australia, and the Australian Navy getting Starship and bringing it to port. That's a good example of this. That would be a good example. So another big part of it sounds like the UK, Canada, and Australia are interested in buying DoD satellites. Mm-hmm. That's, yeah, that could be cool. Anyway. Do we know if Starshield is operational yet? No idea, dude. Buy DoD sats or buying into Starshield. All right, 12. See you, buddy. Yeah, that East Coast Aussie having a spaceport you talked about yesterday would be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good spot if Australia wanted to have their own space program. Sure. What's wrong, buddy? What's wrong, Titan? Hey. Hey. He's a good boy. He just wants somebody to play with. Look at this doggo. Come here. Come on. Give me the ball. Give the ball. Give the ball. Where's the ball? What time is it? 8:15. There is like one more thing. It's just a thread on the purpose of the Artemis program. I don't think it's necessarily space news. More just banter. I can come get him if you want. Yeah, Bree. I mean, he's being okay. He's not being bad. No take, only throw. Hey, what are you doing, buddy? You're a good boy. You're a good boy. He's like, no, the ball is mine. I'm just petting you, pal, okay? Just giving you some belly rubs. Okay. I think you need a camera pointed at the dog basket. This camera was pointed at the dog basket at one point. Here, hold on. Maybe we could like move it over there a little bit. Okay, good enough. It's now the light for the green screen is washing him out. Hold on, let me turn it down a little bit. There we go. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. I probably should fix these key lights anyway, but... What? You growling at me? We could have Australia make an extravehicular mobility unit and call it the EMU for short. Ah, there you go, Yuri. Right on. See? He's quick. I could be totally wrong, but I haven't been keeping up with space news recently. But any updates on Dream Chaser? Dream Chaser got delayed to into 2025 Elite 2, but that's about it. I can't tell what you want me to do. We're fine for now, Bree. We're fine. We're fine. He's not being too bad. I wouldn't. They have a bad track record with emus. Cool. Anyway, we can look through this last article. Okay, Bree. Yeah, cool. Did you see that conversation Ellie had with Kevin Kiley today? Not huge news, but they may be working on legislation to separate space transportation from the FAA. Interesting. All the ropes are down in the house, Bob, but he loves tug of war. This dog loves that. He loves to play keep away too. He'll come. This dog, because he's cattle dog, right? He's an Australian cattle dog. Oop, and he just ran into the side of my desk. He loves to play keep away. Like, he'll come up to you. He'll drop the ball at your feet, right? Like he wants to play fetch, like what he's doing actually right now. Actually, what he's doing right now. See, he has the ball, and he'll drop it, And if you go to reach for it, he'll grab it. What? See how fast you are, buddy. Nope. Got to be faster than that. Nope. Got to be fast. Yep. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, boy. Bechtel loves playing keep away. Bechtel is not Titan. Okay. Hey, don't bite my fingers, dude. Don't nip at my fingers. You can nip at ball. I love the face he makes. He's locked in. When he has ball in his life, he gets locked in. He's locked in. That is textbook locked in. Here you go, buddy. I love you. He's a good boy. He's just hey, how you doing? Oh, this dogs bring me great joy, man. It's pretty funny. What? Come on. Come on up here. Yeah, good boy. You got it. Good job. Uh-oh. Oh, it fell. Yep, he's going to get it. He loves playing fetch, Bob, but he'll bring the ball back to you once, and then he'll just drop it and be like, yeah, now it's your turn to play fetch. Oh, nope, now it's not. Dude, he loves playing keep away. It's really funny, actually. He loves playing fet. It's not fetch, it's just fet, because he'll do it once. NASA gave an update on the commercial low Earth orbit destinations on YouTube. My verse healer used to wait for me to kick his ball like a corner kick in soccer. He wouldn't turn to run until I dropped my arm to move to kick. Yeah, Titan does stuff like that too. The secret is to get 2 of them. Throw the second one so he drops the first one. We have 3, Italics. It doesn't work. He'll just keep the same ball. I'm telling you, man, this dog is smart. He's really smart. Come here. Get up here. Good boy. Here you go. Look at this boy. Look at this boy. Dude, he only cares about 1. We have 3 of the same freaking ball. Just today, right before I came out to work, I threw 3 of them at him, and he just locked in on 1. He's just like, yeah, I don't need the other ones. And if I tried to swap one out for the other, despite it being the exact same thing, he's like, no, get that away from me. I don't want that. I want this one. He's like, I don't want a large farva. I want a gosh dang liter of cola. I said the cool thing. I saw it. He knows the smell. Yeah, maybe. They all smell the same to me, Aqualex, but their noses are not our noses. Can SpaceX still thrive even if... Oh. Devaldod, I've been asked this question a lot. I'll answer it, dude. If you really... And keep in mind, this is my opinion. If you really want to, I generally kind of steer clear of these questions, but if you...
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I'll try to answer it, but if it gets too far off the leash, mods, get your swords ready. Hey, Sindri, 19-month resub. So, Deval, your question is, can SpaceX still thrive even if Elon's political life gets too fraught and controversial? I think he'll be fine, Deval. I think he'll be fine. I'm not going to sit there and say that it's doing him any favors. Wherever he's losing favor, he's gaining favor somewhere else, though, right? But no, I don't think so. SpaceX is a huge defense contractor, dude. I think he'll be fine. I think he knows they'll be fine. I mean, Elon's pretty damn calculated, no matter how you might think about the guy. He's pretty calculated. I don't think he would do this unless he knew that, that he'd be all right. I think that SpaceX having a ton of defense contracts is really kind of hedging his bets to say whatever, you know. But that could work against you too. It's kind of hard to say. I personally don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, no matter how November goes down, you know? I mean, it probably ain't going to do you any favors if, you know, the opposite of what he wants happens, but who knows? I don't know, dude. It's all speculation, dude. That's why I said I can only give opinion. I can't say for sure. I think SpaceX is doing okay, and I think they'll continue to do okay. Starlink is a moneymaker, dude. What? What's Titan? Titan wants me to stop talking about this, guys. Can you hear him? Chewie! Yo, give me the tubular vampers. No, that's not it. Bring me the hydro spanners. No, I don't think the Empire had dogs in mind when they designed her, Chewie. I don't know. Fly casual. No, no, no. This one goes there. That one goes there, right? I don't know, Geeson. We'll see. It could backfire. It might not. Chewie. Maybe Titan needs a turbo encabulator. Yeah, maybe. I think so, Bob. That's what I mean. The guy's calculated. I don't think he would stick his neck out if he thought it would compromise the mission. To be 100% honest with you. I don't know. It's hard to say, but you know that guy thinks like 30 steps ahead, dude, so who knows? Who knows? Deval, it's a hard question, you know? It's hard to say. But also cars on Mars. Elon was very important to SpaceX early on, but I think at this point they have enough experienced people that even if Elon completely went away, it wouldn't be slowed down, to be honest. I mean, Bill, that's something that I see people throw around a lot. You guys understand he's the chief technical officer of SpaceX, basically the chief designer. Like, still, to this day. Yeah, maybe they could operate without him. Sure, probably be okay. But he's the one that makes the stakeholder expectations, guys, as the CTO. Now, that's important to understand. He has final input on all design decisions. Like catching the booster was his idea. An idea that proved to be really, really smart. You know, that's... Exactly. Remember losing Korolev. That's where I'm at, Bill. You know, it'd probably be all right, but I don't like probably, you know? Because if you asked anybody in 1968 when we're going to get to Mars, they would have told you in 1979. We'll get to Mars with the Saturn V. Look how that ended. If you asked anybody in 1973, you know, when are we getting to Mars, they probably would have said, oh, probably the 80s. Because the space shuttle will get us there. See what I'm saying? You guys, I know people look at me like I'm completely crazy all the time. I can see you looking through the damn computer. Not you, but you. The people that are like, EJ, you know, he thinks NASA needs to have parity with SpaceX. That's stupid. Why doesn't NASA just use SpaceX? Because every time we've done something like this, it's ended poorly. The space program, it's very clear that if you're a student of spaceflight history, that the space program can dry up like that. Willy-nilly, no questions asked. We've seen what happens when the government has the only way to get to the moon. If they don't see a reason for it, then just bye-bye. We don't need this anymore. Simultaneously, you could see what happens when the commercial market experiences a recession. The commercial launch market collapses, like what we saw in the 90s. So I don't think it's wise putting all your eggs in commercial or putting all your eggs into a public space program. You need to do both of those things if we want to move further into space. It's pretty simple. You know, just because SpaceX is doing amazing right now, you know, it doesn't mean that they're always going to be like this. The more strides that SpaceX can make now is more of a hedge and NASA for that matter, is more of a hedge against whatever backlash this is going to have. I mean, hopefully, ideally, there is none. But history states that there will be. You know? Like I said, you talk to somebody in 2008. When is NASA going back to the moon? They would have said 2017, 2018. Oops. You mean you're not crazy? I kind of am. That's why, despite opinions on SLS putting into law, I totally agree with. Bob, Congress wanted to save jobs first and foremost, and I understand that. But also, they made their decision based off of our national space program being a point of pride and a feather in our cap. Getting rid of NASA's human spaceflight, it almost happened. It almost had the rug pulled out under it. Congress is what saved that. Where the hell would we be if NASA didn't keep the astronaut office going throughout the 2010s because of SLS, because of Artemis? We would not be nearly as far as we are right now. We wouldn't have astronauts like Johnny Kim. We wouldn't have astronauts like Victor Glover that were specifically recruited for going to the moon. Those classes wouldn't have happened because there wouldn't have been a rocket for them to fly on. See what I'm saying? This is not something that you should screw around with. We should have a national space program of expendable launch vehicles and then let the private sector do as they will. But NASA always should have parity. If they don't, and NASA doesn't have a long-term goals that the commercial contractors can look to and support, the whole thing could collapse. And once again, that's not just my opinion. The National Academy of Sciences put out a paper saying this exact thing. If you don't, and that's why I've been so damn vocal about it lately. You don't fix this problem, you're coming to a crossroads where we could lose NASA completely and have them be a regulatory body. Do you want that? I don't want that. That would be awful. A regulatory body in charge of scientific discovery? Hell no. That would be an insanely bad idea. See, look at how upset Titan's getting over this. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. I know, it's upsetting, isn't it? You wanna launch into space? Yeah? The last time we launched a dog into space, though, it didn't end well. You'll change? It'll be different this time? Okay. All right. NASA has to compete, James. It's not even a judgment call. They have to be able to get to the moon before SpaceX. I've basically said, I've theorized as basically the crossroads, the point of no return is when Starship gets a crew rating. If Starship gets a crew rating, there is no need for SLS to exist. But if SLS has its own lander that's not Starship, then there's a reason for it to keep existing. Because you know what's better than having one way to get to the moon? Having two ways to get to the moon. You know what's better than having two ways? Having three ways to get to the moon. I don't give a frick what anybody says. You can say, that's ridiculous. That's redundant. Guess what, man? I haven't even been, in the scheme of things, I haven't even been a huge spaceflight nutcase for that long. I only got, 14 years of, about 15 years of being a spaceflight nut under my belt. The viewers here that have lived through Apollo and the shuttle program, like even the shuttle program's heydays, will tell you the same thing. It's never going to be enough. I want more spacecraft. You need to have more. That will hedge your bets when the other shoe eventually falls, because history says that it will. So we need more spaceships, we need more landers, we need more space stations. I don't give a frick what anybody says. Sorry. I'm very passionate about this. It's a very passionate thing to talk about. Anyway. And on that bombshell, it's time to go to After Hours. I hope you guys... Titan, stop hitting the damn keyboard. I hope you guys enjoyed that space news and the kind of op-ed at the end of it. So let's jump back into Satisfactory, or we could play Workers. I don't know. We still got to do a lot of work on Satisfactory, but I said I would play more Satisfactory, so that's probably what we're going to do. We have a new museum piece. Nice, an MH53. Cool. Yeah, exactly, Caveman. Yeah, it's a bad idea. Before Christmas, time is ticking. I'm a bit behind, but I don't see why each mount needs its own tower. What are you talking about, Ray? The umbilicals are different, dude. It's and ML1 is a floppy piece of trash, dude. If you're talking about the mobile launchers, ML1 was built for Ares 1. Ares 1 is not SLS. SLS probably has like, I theorized about 7 million more pounds on it. It's probably a little less than that. I think SLS is probably like 6 million pounds heavier. These are just guesses. The point is that SLS is way heavier than Ares 1, what that mobile launcher was originally designed to do. NASA kind of sweeps it under the rug, but that whole mobile launcher is bending because it's not designed to take the weight of an 8 million pound launch vehicle. Yeah. Fun fact. Then you need to build another one. Kind of stuff we probably should have thought about before we, said, hey, let's build this. Anyway, that's going to do it for Space News, guys. I'm going to flash up the title screen, and on that bombshell, it's time to end. I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 for the Flame Trench. So there will be no Space and Rocket review tomorrow from me, your boy. There will be the Flame Trench with, who do we have hosting? Let's see. I think we got me, Sawyer, and Ryan. I think. We'll see. We'll see. It's still up in the air. So you think allowing people to strap a huge explosive to a spacecraft and not have any regulation? No, Corin. No, not at all. I don't know. It's still up in the air, Nova. We'll see. No, that's, oh, geez. I really hope that's not what you got from what I was trying to say. No. I think NASA needs their own program, and we need a redundant space program as well. That doesn't mean to say that commercial needs to have like the bureaucratic regulation be completely taken off. I don't like government bureaucracy as much as the next person, Corinne, but to be 100% honest, what the FAA does isn't government bureaucracy. I can say that with a pretty high confidence. You know how I know? Everybody was up in arms about the FAA and SpaceX butting heads, and then the FAA said net November, and then we saw a launch in October. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The regulatory framework for commercial launching is not the worst. It needs to be increased for more bandwidth down the road as more commercial contractors come online and launch more frequently. It needs to be expanded. But that doesn't mean that the framework doesn't work. What? Does that make sense, dude? No. Okay, Bree, it might be time. He's getting a little cranky. Just food for thought. Because of regulation, you're more likely to be hit by lightning than in a plane crash. Bingo, exactly. I've only been tongue-in-cheek about making fun of the FAA, but believe it or not, I'm super pro SpaceX. I love SpaceX. I want them to do their thing. Right, you needn't watch more than my reaction to the Booster 10 catch or the Booster 12 catch, and I blew a gasket. I was like, but also it's important for the FAA to establish good commercial regulatory framework in the future. Oh, hey, buddy. The reason why is because what happens when Blue comes online? What happens when Blue starts launching their Project Kuiper satellites and they're launching just as much as Falcon? What happens when Vulcan does that? The FAA needs the regulatory framework is good. They just need to expand. They need more people to go through this paperwork, right? Also in the future, the FAA basically using SpaceX and Starship as their kind of prototype for establishing regulatory framework for what it takes to certify commercial spacecraft and commercial spaceport. That's the best analog that you could get for your kind of default regulatory framework, right? Because that basically certifies super heavy launch commercial spaceports as the benchmark for future commercial spaceport endeavors. Does that make sense? I think that's a really good idea. We should do that. We should do more of that. You know? Hey, buddy. What are you doing? Hey, don't eat your bed. Hey, that's your bed. It's not edible. What are you doing? Dang it. I'm trying to discuss space flight policy, dog. What's the matter with you? Stop it. No, stop it. Stop eating the bed. Stop eating the bed. Dang it. Anyway, I'm back. Sorry. Brimo, I need help. Please help me. It's a bettable. It's bettable. Anyway. Phoenix is getting a Buc-ee's. All right. 2 lunar programs are better than 1. You're damn right, Yuri. The last time we had 2 lunar programs, somebody actually went to the frigging moon. Weird, huh? Oh, how did that happen? That's weird. Yuri, I actually talked about that a little bit before you came in. The only reason why Ares 1 was seemingly so unsafe is because it was halfway through development. They didn't have all the problems figured out. You know why? Because under Constellation, NASA was trying to get back to doing rapid prototyping. Hence Ares 1X with a dud upper stage and dud capsule. They were trying to get back. They were trying to do rapid iteration. Weird, right? FAA knows airplanes, rockets not so much. Well, the FAA has... Starship would be a pretty good place to start. I don't like people dumping on the FAA. No, Davil, I'm an av geek just as much as anybody else is. I love airplanes. You know, when that new flight sim comes out, chat convinced me, despite me not wanting to, because Microsoft, wanting to play it, and you'll see how much of a plane geek I am, dude. The regulations that are there for like how a commercial airliner operates are why I can just get on a plane and fly to California and not have to worry about crashing into a mountain, right? That's what we want if we want the commercial sector in low Earth orbit to expand. I'm sorry, like I know in the interim it sucks seeing Starship delayed by regulatory approval. But those couple of weeks delays, because that's really what it ended up being, like a month at best, that couple of months could mean like Star Wars in the future, you know what I mean? Not the explodey bits. Like you could see spacecraft flying all over the place, as much as planes. That's why it's so important. Titan, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where's your ball? What's this? Oh, I dropped it. It's bettable. The Star Wars laser defense system? No. Star Wars, like, you can get into a spacecraft and fly it into space like you could get on a plane and fly. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, all right. Should we get back to Satisfactory? Let's do this. If you're over on the YouTube side of things, you know the drill. I am going to stop the stream. But if you're on the Twitch side, we're just going to change categories. Regulations need to be established and followed by everyone. You need to say that some... Yeah, dude, we have rules. The rules, the seemingly crazy regulatory stuff that the FAA does is the reason why planes don't crash into mountains. That's the reason why our airline industry is so safe. If we want to be able to take a vacation into space, something like that is eventually going to need to happen. Starship and Starbase are the best way to come up with the regulatory framework needed in the future for this. Period. Full stop. Best case scenario. Anyway, that popped up with ads right away, so I don't care. Anyway, on the YouTube side of things, I'm going to restart and we're going to get back into Satisfactory. On the Twitch side of things, you'll just see the title screen for a second. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Thank you very much for watching Space News, and on to Satisfactory.